All right, we're live with Azder. So Azder, you're going to be starting up the run with the Super Metroid ROM hack. Go ahead and feel free to explain what the game is exactly.
Yeah, so this is Super Metroid Redesign. It's one of the earliest hacks to come out, and it's really ambitious. It's 2.5 times the size of the original. So we'll get this started. I'll count us down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. All right, so this hack was released by Joseph in 2006, with Kajardan having done a lot of the custom assembly coding for it. You'll notice right away that the physics are very different. They're really heavy, and aside from the difficulty increase, one reason the physics was changed was to make it so that veteran vanilla players of Super Metroid couldn't sequence break the hack to pieces just by doing the exact same tricks they already knew how to do. So also with me, I've got Tracy, a veteran SM commentator, who's also played this to help me explain stuff.
Yeah, other than the heavy physics, the series part, not too different, so you'll notice something immediately. A little less time to get out. Still plenty, though, for people that have played it.
Yeah, this actually has a lot of references, things taken from other Metroid games in it as well. A lot of stuff is taken from the Prime series. One of the things being the beam's rates of fire. So you can actually make the beams have different rates of fire, and they kind of are modeled after what they are in Prime. So you could see I was able to fire the power beam really fast. Ice beam's going to be very slow when we get that. Wave is kind of in the middle. Plasma's pretty fast.
Phaser's nice because it's really, really fast.
Yeah, Phaser is power rate of fire because Phaser's not actually in Prime. So it's basically like a buffed up power beam. It's pretty cool. One of my favorite items in this, really. This has 12 Chozo Guardians that we have to find to get to Turian, instead of the block being the 4 major bosses, which complicates the routing a lot.
Yeah, it turns out that you don't actually have to kill. We're going to kill all the bosses because this is Hundo, and that'll help us get around and get to certain places because the bosses do gate certain doors and such. But in general, you don't necessarily have to kill all the bosses, other than if a Chozo Guardian or whatever is behind one of the doors that a boss opens up.
Yeah, they're all like indirect blocks instead of being directly required.
So, like usual, first thing we're going to get is a Morph Ball. No surprise there.
So 100% isn't going to deviate for a decent bit, but it does get really interesting in that some of the items in this hack are really difficult to collect. You don't have to do anything too crazy just to beat the hack. In terms of tricks, you'd have to know how to wall jump and shine spark, but Hundo requires advanced techniques like infinite bomb jump, which is actually really difficult in this, and use of the Game Boy Advance shine spark mechanics where you shine spark into a slope to recharge it.
Yeah, there's some really funny or fun. I'm not sure fun is the right word, but some of the items that use that mechanic are really. Let's just say we're going to recharge a whole lot of shine sparks there. Also, you'll notice the missile firing rate is really, really fast here, which we'll take advantage of in a few places later on in the run. To answer your question, I was going to ask you. Yeah, this is the original redesign. This is not Axial Edition. Go ahead.
All right, yeah, I was just curious to know a bit more detail about what happens with the gravity. I remember I've read that the gravity is greatly different on this one compared to regular Super Metroid. Is it basically Samus being heavier?
Yeah.
I kind of assume it's the planet having heavier gravity, but I mean, I guess.
Oh
Same thing,
yeah.
well, yeah.
No, it's more the planet, I guess. There is a gravity value in the physics table that you can tweak, but that's not all of it. You can also tweak jump heights and jump distances in the physics table, so all of that is different.
And does it end up affecting enemies as well as Samus?
No, it's just.
Of course not.
it just has to do with Samus. So we're gonna unmorph carefully over that pirate because that pirate does a lot of damage. You want to be able to dodge it by resetting your fall speed. We want to not take too much damage here because being in health bomb, which is when you're below 30, the game will basically default everything to a health pickup. We want to avoid that in this part because we need to refill missiles to open all these red doors on the path. Another point about the gravity is, like I mentioned earlier, it's changed so that veteran vanilla players can't just sequence break for free. But there are some kind of justifications he made for changing the gravity to what it was specifically. He did some math based on there's a scan log in Metroid Prime that shows the differences between the total mass of Zebus and Talon 4, which is the planet you are on in Prime 1. So he recalculated the gravity based on the difference between the masses of the two planets in that game. That's what he says anyways.
So he did the math.
Yeah.
Allegedly, yes.
So one of the things I'm going to point out early on, you don't have an energy tank. You just have 5 missiles. So it's kind of dangerous part of the game. I know when I went through this part of the game, I went through very, very slowly, killing a lot of enemies. So yeah, not speedrunning here. We do have to fight Spore Spawn here.
Yeah, this is not a free fight in terms of going fast. You want to get as many missiles as possible in a round. On the second round, when he opens up, I want to try and get as many drops on the field as possible, which is not going well so far. If you get hits on him as he's opening, which I wasn't able to do because I had no drops on the field, but if you get hits as he's opening, then the hits won't actually make him close up and go to the next round until he's fully open. So ideally you can get a 2-round, oh, I opened the door by accident. Accidentally shot downwards.
I mean, opening the door isn't the problem. Opening the door and not killing. I mean, he can come back with the wall jump boots.
I have to go back and...
still have to kill him.
Yeah, we still have to kill him because he opens doors later in Brindstar that we need to have open.
Okay, so wall jump boots. You might have noticed that you couldn't wall jump earlier. Now we can wall jump. You'll notice those specific. There's 3 types of. I like to think of it as 3 types of wall tiles. It's not really accurate in a sense, but there's the walls that you saw him jumping off of that are specifically meant for wall jumping. Like, hey, here, you're wall jumping here. That's what we want you to do. There's other places where you can wall jump, but you don't necessarily have to. And then there's those places where tiles where it just doesn't let you wall jump.
Yeah, so unfortunately I have to go back and redo this fight right now because I'm not going to be near here the next time that I need both the doors open. I might actually do a better job of the fight though, we'll see. That start was much better, I got 4 in the first round.
Yeah, this fight is just hard to do fast. It's not a hard fight in general. We don't see a lot of people dying to this fight, but yeah.
Okay, that is what a 2-round is supposed to look like.
There we go. See, that's why you open the door on purpose so we can actually, show off the 2-round,
So now that I have wall jump, I have to go all the way back to the landing site to use wall jump and missiles to go to the east to where Bomb Teresa is, and then come back to Brinstar with bombs. So you pretty much have classic Metroid Prime 1 level of backtracking. Yeah, I've never actually fallen through that door. It's kind of annoying that it's possible to open.
You also notice that there's a lot of back and forth wall jumping. Single wall jumping is possible, but a lot more difficult in this than in the vanilla game.
Yeah, I feel like most of the wall jumping, this is actually kind of like fusions. That's what it feels like to me.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
It's like there's some places where I take damage intentionally from a weaker enemy to be able to run through a stronger one.
Yeah, there's still no E-tanks here.
These green pirates do 33, which is really dangerous at this point.
They're still pretty low health, low equipped. So I mean, you don't really want to be using up all those missiles if you can avoid it. Also, you may notice some mock balls here. That's also another, very common trick in vanilla SM. That's a much harder trick to do in this hack than it is in the vanilla version.
Yeah, basically you have to morph as you hit the ground and then roll the D-pad from down to forward. You just get less time to do it correctly in this because of how fast you hit the ground. It's a bit more important because your base Morph Ball speed is actually halved in this. So, like basically what Mock Ball does is you're able to mock your run speed as a ball. So however much speed you did the run and jump with is pretty much how much speed you'll get to roll with. So since the base rolling speed in this is so bad, it's a bit more important to get those mock balls done. Once we get Spring Ball, actually, Spring Ball has an entirely different set of physics in the game's physics table, which is not super obvious in vanilla because a lot of the values are the same. So it has the same rolling speed as regular Morph Ball in vanilla, but they're actually separate values. So if you're making a ROM hack, you can change them separately. So once we get Spring Ball, the original Morph Ball speed is going to be restored to what it is in vanilla. But we're still going to have slower acceleration. The Morph Ball slow acceleration is actually what makes a lot of its use problematic. So coming up in this next room, there's a beta enemy called a Reflect. It just reflects your shot, and it's used for a puzzle in this room to be able to hit this shutter that's in the floor. So it exists in the code in vanilla, but it's kind of buggy. If you lay a bomb next to it, it'll crash the game. So they didn't use it in the final version of the vanilla game.
And of course, with bombs comes Bomb Teresa. We'll get the first instance of a special weakness of a boss, which, you know, it's Bomb Teresa, so why not make the special weakness bombs?
Yeah,
you miss him.
he has a lot more health than normal, so it's good to have a way to quick kill him. A lot of the bosses in this hack, we're actually going to get our first hundo item here. A lot of the bosses in this hack have weaknesses to some unconventional forms of weaponry. So like they might be more difficult bosses on a first playthrough, but if you learn their weaknesses and you're either just doing a speedrun or just a second playthrough or whatnot, there's some interesting ways you can kill other bosses. I think 3 or 4 of them have weaknesses to bombs. One of them is weak to pseudo screw attack. One of them was weak to real screw attack.
Also, you'll notice that he, when he picked up that last missile pack, he's only got 2 missiles. There's 3 types of missile packs, 2 5s and 10s. The 2s are the ones that are just kind of sitting out there in a Chozo ball. The 5s are the Chozo ones, I believe, and then the 10s are the ones that are hidden in the scenery.
Yeah, the 2s are open. Not in a Chozo ball. The 5s are Chozo ball.
Gotcha.
Supers come in 1s and 2s, and power bombs just come in 1s, except for the very first one that we get from Crocomeyer, which is 3.
Which is the intended first power bomb. There's actually quite a few different power bombs that could be gotten as first power bombs depending on the run you're doing. But this being hundo, it makes no sense to not just kill Croc and just get the normal one. And there's our first instance of the IBJ.
Yeah, that's a lot harder than it looks. Do you notice the 3 green dots on screen? That's a bomb counter, similar to how the bomb counter works in Prime 2 and 3. Prime 1's is actually more abusable the way it works. They patched it in the future games. But yeah, so if I lay 3 bombs at a time, the bomb counter will run out and I'll have to wait a few seconds before I can lay any more. And that, along with the changed gravity and the changed bomb timer, makes doing infinite bomb jumps at all really difficult. It's much easier to drop them. You have a tighter window because if you try and lay your bomb too soon, you just run out the counter and then you fall. The rhythm for it also is not it's not like constant throughout. You have to make adjustments on the fly. You have to kind of react to how the bomb jump is going and adjust accordingly.
Fortunately, for a normal playthrough of the game, there's no spot where you actually have to do those bomb jumps. A few items in hundo, though, do require it.
Yeah, the spot where I used it, it saves 6 seconds there. There are spots where we're going to be using it in other places where it's absolutely required to get some items. And there are some spots where you use it just because it's faster. Oh, so we're not going to be going the intended way to super missiles. So the intended first super pack is in Spore Spawn's room behind bombs, so you're supposed to backtrack again to get back there. But there is kind of a hidden passage to Red Brinstar that's faster than the one you're supposed to take. You have to do a really tight wall jump to make it up to a ledge to get there. And there is actually conveniently a pack of supers in the spikes here that you can get as your first one. So I still had to kill Spore Spawn to go this way, because one of the flashing gray doors that was on the way was a Spore Spawn locked door. So if I didn't go back and kill him, then I would not have been able to go this way. So we have to do a single wall climb out of this pit, which is pretty tough, and then we have to do a really tight wall jump into single wall climb on the other side. And I am going to farm, because we're pretty low. I can't afford another fall.
All right, well, we get that life up. I'd just like to mention that we have a couple of incentives coming up. So we have the Hollow Knight Save or Kill Mila incentive, which is currently being won by Save Mila, $100 to $0. So if you want to save her, feel free to add a bit of money to the, oh, sorry about that. If you actually want to get rid of her, feel free to add some money to the Kill Mila incentive. And then we also have the Fate of the Animals incentive between Save the Animals and Kill the Animals. Save the Animals is still in the lead, $392.27 to $255. So feel free to contribute if you guys want to save some frames. And we also had the incentive for the Castlevania 4 whip only run tomorrow morning. We're still 147.73 cents short to hitting that objective, so feel free to contribute to that. Obviously, I'll be more than pleased to read all your donations tonight.
Okay, so I made it up there. I accidentally got a gap skip over this secret tunnel here when I was trying to get into it. So I accidentally hit the door transition on the way out. This is pretty dangerous.
So clearly somebody heard my message. A Slippers Wearing Hero donated $5 saying, nice event, great runners, all for a good cause. I feel like we might be able to get a $5 hype train started.
This is really scary.
Oh boy.
I can't afford to take a spike hit with this health. This is not part of the plan. I actually don't know where the next spike down this direction is.
The camera doesn't seem to be cooperating with you. Okay. Okay, we're gonna be good in just a second. There's a nice E-tank here.
That was the scariest situation I've ever been in there.
Yeah, that E-tank's kind of funny because we're gonna do a little bit of a sequence break here in just a second, but the intended path is to take 3 E-tanks and do a hell run in Norfair to get Ice Beam, which you wouldn't expect, and then come back out and then get the item he's gonna get right pretty soon. The game basically forces 2 E-tanks on you before that, because we're going to see in just a second he's going to get one of those. Well, actually, it's a little bit while, but eventually we'll see a couple of the E-tanks are repeated in a room right before you do the hell run, so you're going to be guaranteed to get 2 of them. But that one that was hidden pretty well is not one of them, and to do those hell runs, you absolutely need that E-tank. So.
Yeah, you'd have to go looking for it. The other 2 are ones that... It's because the other 2 are ones that are back in Criteria and Brinstar that you can get stuck down here and miss them and not be able to get back to them. So that's why there's extra copies of them down here.
Yeah, and we saw one of the E-tanks, and we're going to get the other one in that room.
Yeah, when we get to the elevator, we'll see only one E-tank there, because I got one E-tank and not the other one. So I have to do, this is pretty crazy, I have to do an infinite bomb jump out of this spike pit, and the spikes knock you back constantly when you're inside them. So I have to have the spike hit brace me against the far right wall of it, so that my bombs go upwards in a straight line.
Also, he's going to want to leave a drop in these 2 spots so that the enemies don't get in his way.
Okay, that was pretty good.
Yeah, nice first try on that one. And the first
give a
purple
quick shout out to Lenofis and their raiders just dropped in.
Yo, Leno.
Oh yeah, Leno helped me commentate my Prime Day run earlier, so shout outs to him.
Okay, and there's the barrier suit. So normally what you would do is you would freeze the enemies to get up there. So the intent is for you to go hell run to the ice beam with your three energy tanks, and then you can freeze the rippers or the... I forget what the enemies are called that come out of the pipes there.
Those bugs are called Gigos.
Oh, those are the Gigas. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're supposed to freeze those enemies to get in there, but we can sequence break that with the IBJ. It's certainly, you know, and that's a very difficult IBJ, having to do it out of the spike. So, and there's the energy tank. You see the second little platform there would be where the first energy tank was. We saw that energy tank in Criteria. We passed by it without bombs. We couldn't get it till we had bombs. We were able to pick it up on the way back.
Yeah, the other one is in Brinstar, kind of on the intended path that we didn't take, which is where like we normally get our first supers and charge beam. We're not gonna get charge beam for a while, not until we like do all of the first trip of Norfair.
Missing charge beam, not that big a deal, although the Crocomeyer fight is kind of tight on ammo, so you know that's a little more difficult than if you have the charge beam to be able to use charge shots on them.
Yeah, it's a little scary. I'll have to make sure I farm up for it. And there's some farm strats for Crocomeyer, but it's random whether he even spits stuff at you to be able to farm. Oh, that could have been bad, but that turned out to be pretty good actually. That squeak actually knocked me right into the tunnel.
So that area that he just went through is another spot where the game intends you to have ice beam. The idea being you would freeze the squeaks and then do a horizontal bomb jump, a single horizontal bomb jump into the little tunnel there, and you can just mid-air morph and do it instead. Not an easy trick.
I'm gonna shoot this multi-viola a few times. Each time you shoot an enemy, it delays its movement by, I'm not sure if it's 1 or 2 frames, but shooting that multi-viola 3 times delays its flight pattern by enough to not hit me before I get into the tunnel.
Yeah, we talked about not having to do the IBJs, but you do have to do a lot of these those one-time horizontal bomb jumps. And you do have to do something that I believe comes up in Prime. I can't play 3D games, so I don't have experience with Prime, but these little double bomb jumps to get up to places that comes up all the time early on in this before we get Spring Ball.
Yeah, so we're supposed to have Ice Beam to be able to freeze the Giga. They can be really uncooperative, so like back before I knew how to IBJ in this game, getting the super missile was really rough. We're out because of the doors we had to open, and we have to shoot a block on the floor. So we pretty much always had to get this extra super if we were coming here, no matter what category we were doing. But it was really rough not being able to IBJ to that before. Doing it the intended ways. It's pretty awful.
And here's Crocomeyer. Basically the same fight as in Vanilla. We'll just push him back into the acid. With such low ammo, you notice he farmed up a little bit when he got into one of the phases where he's shooting out the little fireballs. And you don't want to go to the right here.
All right, we just received a nice anonymous donation for $20. Thank you very much.
Thank you to whoever donated. So the liquid physics are especially restrictive in this. A lot of the first trip of Norfair is death traps. If I fall into the acid here, I pretty much can't get out. The size of these platforms are not wall jumpable either.
Yeah, I'll tell you that was my my biggest complaint about this game when I play through is just some of the death traps this game has, mostly in Norfair. We're going to see some much worse ones coming up too.
You can actually technically get out of that. Komaru had the idea that he pitched to me while I was doing practice. He was like, "What if you did a bomb jump at the acid line?" And I tried it and it worked, but it's really, really hard. So I just would not advise falling in the acid there. And we're going to powerbomb ROV out of existence. One of the custom things in this hack is there are actually triggers placed for blockades for like powerbomb, speed booster, super blocks in a lot of places, such that when you powerbomb them or speed booster through them the first time, they do not come back. They are saved flags in memory.
All right, we're gonna go back out here. You notice sometimes for those of you that played the vanilla game, will know that there's this thing that we call crouch jump. So if we crouch and jump, get a little bit of extra height. It's using that in this game, in this version, is a lot more powerful. It helps out a lot, just all over the place. You're going to see a lot of times where he's going to crouch before he jumps, just to get a little bit of extra height. I think you saw that a little bit in that platformer.
It's a lot more extra height in this.
Yep. I think it's noticeable.
All right, so that $20 anonymous donation kind of got me going, so I had to chip in myself with a nice $20. Just want to give a quick shout out to the National Multiple Sclerosis Society, as well as the whole staff from NoReset.
So Norfair as a whole is mostly divided between West and East Norfair. We start over here in West Norfair, and the trip down there to get the power bombs and get back. So we can go and fight Kraid back here in Brinstar. We don't need power bombs to fight Kraid, but the only reward Kraid gives you is a glass Viridia tube behind him, and this tube actually connects down to East Norfair. So then we get all the way to the bottom of East Norfair to get Grapple Beam, and then we have to go all the way back to West Norfair to get Speed Booster with it. There's a crazy dangerous 90% route that I switched to recently that saves a few minutes, where you get a different early powerbomb. You get a different powerbomb other than Crocomeyer's, and leaving Crocomeyer alive actually changes the tide of the lava in the room on the way to Speed Booster, letting you IBJ through lava and not need grapple for it. But it's much slower to get the alternate powerbomb. So for Hundo, it doesn't make as much sense to do that route, and it's much more dangerous. So it's kind of interesting because we end up with kind of a new route, old route dichotomy where any percent is allowed to do a new route that has more sequence breaks and changes up the boss order, and 100% because of item restrictions ends up having to do the old route still. So we don't actually fight Kraid in any percent. So we end up getting early speed, and that gets us into East Norfair instead. But in Hundo, it makes more sense to fight him. So he's about effectively 1.5 times as strong as in vanilla. But because things are based on Prime, the super missile rate of fire is very slow, and we cannot quick kill him. Also, we just have less super capacity to begin with.
That'll be the first of many tubes we break.
Yeah, there's a lot of them connecting Brinstar to Meridia, Brinstar to Norfair, etc. Not just the one.
Just a quick shout out here for a raid that we just got from LimeWax508. Thanks a lot.
So we're about to get to the
Oh, by the way, this missile, I call this missile Bob Jr. I named it after the one in Fusion you can't skip, because you can skip this one in like any percent routes. You can bomb jump over it, but it's so difficult, and you pass it 4 times, so it's not worth it to try and skip it. You might as well just get it.
So you see those grapple blocks. We're about to get grapple beam, and we'll have to exit using the Grapple Gauntlet, which is probably the most famous or infamous part of this game. And something that's skipped now in the new 80% route.
It's one of the most unfair parts of this casually.
I would call it the most unfair part, but
yeah, that's what I meant. There's a gate glitch here. If you have seen people do gate glitches in vanilla or randomizer, there we go. This is just kind of a flat time save with going down here and back up. If you don't do it, like this is just a shortcut for when you have wave beam. You have to go through a slower series of rooms if you don't do this gate glitch. The gates also have memory flags attributed to them, so they will remember that they're open when you shoot them open, so it saves time on the way back as well.
Yeah, super useful.
So if you tried to play Redesign without save states, you'll be very familiar with that save point.
Yes, you will. And this farm spot too.
So we're getting pretty close to getting grapple, and the grapple gauntlet that Tracy mentioned earlier is a pretty brutal series of rooms that you have to go through on the way out. This is a kill everything room, and this is your first encounter with a large disc Giga, which takes 17 missiles total.
Definitely seen some hard reactions to the grapple room.
It's it's really bad. Depending on how it goes for me, it might not look that bad, but if you fall, there's basically no way. You fall into a giant cave full of acid. There's basically no way to get out.
And that to me is the biggest issue, that there's no way when you fall, there's like nothing you can fall on. Like you're just falling in the acid. Nope. Reset. Try again. You'll note that the any percent route skips the. Actually, man, the new any percent route actually skips this whole part. So there's a lot of other things that are really difficult. So it's not really like you're trading out one difficult thing for something easy. You're trading out one difficult thing for a bunch of other difficult things. So.
Yeah. The other things you have to do are arguably worse than any percent. So if I'm fast enough, this is the really bad room in the Grapple Gauntlet. If I'm fast enough, there is a Ripper cycle, an early Ripper cycle that I can get that'll be a lot faster, but I have to move quickly here. Okay, got it. So these are like semi-blind. So they're not completely blind, but you don't have the greatest like overall big picture of where you're going in this room. Okay, see, not that bad, right?
Yeah, it's bad. I would say it's that, but you're just good at it.
I have practiced that room a lot out of necessity. I practiced like all the different timings of the Ripper cycles and like exactly when to swing and stuff. It's all choreographed so that I don't mess it up.
This room is still a little bit dangerous, but much less so. As you can see, that first lava bath, not too bad to get out of. If you fall in the wrong place, to the right here, though, you can still end up in a bad spot. But we're good now. Past the worst of it.
Okay, I need to farm here because there are going to be doors on path later where I need like effectively 30 missiles, or 31 actually, because I have to open the red gate before ice too.
Yeah. There's a person in chat asking about the physics chain making it better or worse for speedrunning. I know a lot of people that just absolutely hate these physics, so I'm going to say probably worse.
It's different. It's just it emphasizes different skills. You need a lot more snap reflexes to be comfortable with these physics. It gets really weird once we get screw attack later, because screw attack makes you go flying forward. It's kind of a reference to how screw attack lets you cross large gaps in Prime 2 and 3. So like screw attack is actually a movement item unto itself. Because it makes you go flying so far forward, they made it so that it only takes effect when you start your jump with the run button. Because otherwise it would be you'd just be flying around everywhere with very little control. But that aspect also adds another dimension to how difficult it is to control screw attack movement, because you're constantly having to make sure that you are holding the run button and not holding the run button exactly for the jumps that you're intending to. Otherwise, they won't go the correct distance.
Also notice he has to use a grapple beam on those blocks. Can't wall jump on those.
I have actually patched redesign physics into vanilla SM. I used to do that years ago when I was bored, and There weren't like a lot of different randomizer options and stuff.
Okay, this is probably the last sort of dangerous room. It's a little bit faster to grapple across, but playing it safe a little bit for a marathon situation with the hanging on to the Ripper instead.
There are lots of places where if you fall in the middle of that lava lake, you just cannot get out.
And there's the ice beam we didn't get with the hell run we didn't do way back when.
Yeah, so we basically get to go through the hell run section backwards while not losing energy. The early Varia, like for people who are, for whatever unforsaken reason, interested in running this, even if you can't do early Varia, it doesn't change a whole lot of the route. It just basically, if you don't do it, it means you have to do this detour to get Ice Beam, and then you just go back and continue on the route as normal.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fairly tight hell run. It gives you only 3 E-tanks to do it with, but it's very doable. After once you know the rooms, you have to learn what the rooms are, and then you go through it, and then gets you that save room with the refills. And once you get that far, it's not too bad.
I was kind of sad when the hell run ended up not being in any of the runs anymore. Like, it's basically not in any category anymore. Because watching a video of somebody do it is what got me interested in playing Redesign in the first place. Also, it was pretty fun to do. It was something I looked forward to in doing runs. It was fun to see, if it could beat my record of how much health I got to the save room with.
Yeah, and to be clear, you need all 3 of those E-tanks to get through. So,
my record getting to the save room was 90 health left. But I don't get to do those runs anymore.
Maybe we need an Ice Beam RTA category. You see those power bombs going to blow up these barriers. So those will never come back, which is really nice.
That is not what I wanted to do.
So this is actually the oh boy. Okay, we're good. This is actually the spot where in the new, this is the spot, right? In the new route where you would bomb jump up to get the early speed, right?
Yes. If you do not kill Crocomeyer, the lava tide is actually higher in this room. And you can IBJ entirely within the lava to get to the other side. The main thing you can't do with bomb jumps in liquid is you can't transition the line between liquid and air. It requires frame perfect on morphs and remorphs, so only a task can do it. But yeah, in any percent, we basically we get a different power bomb so we can manipulate the room states so that we can get here without grapple.
Okay, more of these little horizontal bomb jumps here.
What percent of this actually has to get 4 tanks because Rainbow Beam does more damage?
And Ice Beam as well, because can't use power bombs in the Metroid, so Ice Beam is hard required in this game.
Okay, so we're gonna start showing off the slope recharge mechanic. Basically, oh, I guess not. I missed the short charge here. Never mind.
You know, just grapple across like the rest of us.
Okay, this is really annoying. I hate this platform. That is so obnoxious. Okay.
Yeah, ideally we don't fall in there twice.
I don't have enough health to spark out of here. So, that's unfortunate. I'm actually going to farm here a little bit because it's going to be dangerous to get out otherwise. The rainbow does 439. Goodness. Wow, I got hacked by like almost every NoReset death trap that doesn't actually auto kill you.
We won't get to see the shine spark up here, but that's okay. We'll do it the normal way.
We'll get to see it later in the run.
Yeah,
we will go through
we'll have plenty of health the next time. There's a lot of Norfair cleanup they're going to have to do in this area later on.
You do not want me to do a low percent run for a marathon. I actually did one for a really, really long-a-thon before. And
yeah, I was going to say it's about right. Cause
it clocked in at 5:51.
I mean, that's better than the video I watched, which was, I want to say, about 9 hours long or something ridiculous. Yeah, but you would need at least 4 E-tanks because to survive the rainbow beam, you need that many. And of course, the problem with low percent is it ends up being defined by whatever you can survive the game with, you know? So like, even if your time is better, if someone can do it with a slightly lower percent, even twice the time, it's still the record.
So I might be able to show off the recharge mechanic here. There we go. This is my favorite one. I call that one Wave Spark. It's I see it as like the plasma spark of this game. It's probably not quite as hard, but it's still pretty hard.
But yeah, if you want to actual low percent run in this game, I mean we figured out before this started that he was doing about half of the marathon for Friday. So that's about what it would be for Friday with just that one category.
So if you're familiar with how short charging works in vanilla SM, it doesn't work like that in Redesign. It's not nearly as exploitable. So in vanilla, the game checks for a specific animation frame 4 times as part of Samus's run animation. And if you're just holding run during those frames, it'll let you get your speed boost off. But in Redesign, it's been changed to basically check if you're holding run for every frame. So
regular short charging and with the taps that you're used to can stutter to make it a little bit shorter, but that's it.
Yeah, you also have to do it's basically a D-pad stutter. That's the only way that you can shorten your charge in this. So we gotta open that power bone gate so that we have run space to do this shine spark up here. But yeah, we'll start to get to see more of the chain sparking used for getting items and just to speed some things up. I don't think we went over purple doors either. They take 25 missiles or 5 supers or a combination of those two.
And they're all over the place.
They basically take the place of Ghidorahs, the eye doors. So they tend to block bosses and or important things. For bosses, they're kind of a pain just because you'll end up going to them on lower ammo than you otherwise would, except for Kraid, because Kraid has the farm spot in front of it. But all the doors and gates and stuff that we need lots of ammo for means that ammo management is a really important skill in this hack for pretty much any category. Even 100% has ammo struggles throughout a lot of it.
Yeah, and whether you open the door, it is faster to do with 5 supers, despite the longer cooldown period. But whether or not you use supers, missiles, or some combination depends on which item you're going to need soon and you know what the farm situation is. So.
Yeah, there's some spots where it's much easier to get. Generally, it's easier to farm back your supers. Unless there's a missile recharge station. So it depends what's available, and it depends which type of ammo you're going to need more of in the near future, whichever that one is you want to avoid using. So I'm like, for example, I'm going to use all my supers in this door because there's a bunch of cactax in this room right here that I can get guaranteed super drops from. That's a really simple example though. So this is guarding high jump, which normally we need grapple for. Any percent actually gets a spike suit, the frame perfect shine spark storage glitch. Normally only saves like a few seconds in vanilla runs, but in Redesign, some of the applications of spike suit could be very important. Actually, 100% doesn't use spike suit at all, but any percent has like 2 or 3 required uses of it.
Yeah, the main issue being is we want to get the grapple beam at a point where we're just going to go straight into lower warfare. We'll see that we're actually going to go in that way later on anyway, but there's a lot more we're going to do before that happens. Whereas in any percent, we do that on the first trip over there, and you don't want to have to come back for all this stuff later. So you don't want to have to worry about getting that grapple beam. And here's the intended first super. Kind of teases you the first time through because you come here, you kill Spore Spawn without bombs. You can't actually get the super back.
You can't see what it is either because it's in a Chozo Ball.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, the Chozo Ball teases you, but I mean, it's Spore Spawn. It's got to be supers, right?
Right. We're about to get Charge Beam too, but I want to make sure that I have a Shine Spark going into this room because there's really deadly side hoppers here that are guarding I'm going to set that up again. I want the Shine Spark to kill the side hoppers in this room because they're guarding a power bomb. This room is kind of like a death trap for new players.
Oh, it sure is. Because you can see, I want to say, yeah, you can see the Chozo Ball there before you get over here.
There we go. That's what I wanted to do.
So you're like, oh, I'm going to get something. And then, of course, you go over there and you land into a side hopper.
They do a lot more damage than in vanilla. I want to say they do 176, whereas that size of side hopper does 80 in vanilla. So we finally get charged. It's just much faster to grab charge when you're already equipped to get other items in this area. And we don't actually really have need of it before now. can make do without it. Okay, so I want to come out here with an angled down shot ready to go, so I can get rid of this Rio and so it doesn't kill my run speed.
Oh, one thing we didn't mention, high jump also gives spring ball in this game, kind of like the, I guess Fusion does that?
Yeah, I think that's the only game that does that.
I think it's just Fusion. I don't think Hero Mission does that.
I want to get my super count back up to my max, which is 7, because there's a lot of really ammo-intensive stuff here.
All right, while you search for those super missiles, I'll just take a quick moment to thank Sedka for his raid that he just came in with his viewers. And I also want to take a quick moment to thank everybody here for choosing to spend their Friday night with us here on NoReset's 2021 Metroidvaniathon. I hope you're enjoying Azder's impressive Super Metroid redesign run. And a quick note that all donations are going to the National Multiple Sclerosis Society, who are working towards finding a cure for MS, a condition that affects over 2.3 million people across the world. We're also very, very close to the $1,250 milestone to make tomorrow's Super Castlevania 4 run a whip-only run. And for a $50 donation, G-Virus will also up his spice game and enjoy a few hot sauces varying between 11,500 and 32,000 Scoville heat units. So feel free to donate for those incentives.
According to John, apparently is high jump and spring ball are mixed in both Fusion and Zero Mission. So
I need to get a speed ball coming out of that door. It's just a mock ball with speed booster active, but since you're going faster, it's much harder to time it properly. Oh, the power bomb didn't even break all of these.
say, is there a missile that came before this one we didn't? Missile number 7.
Let me see. I got that, yeah.
Okay. There's self-set X-ray scope, which we will use a little bit. Not really in its intended way, but...
There's one strat with a temporary blue suit fall that X-ray is really good for that I hope to get, but it's really difficult, so... I might not get it. We do use it for microwave at some point in the run.
Yep.
Yeah. That's not that exciting though. It's pretty easy. Oh, nice. That's a good super drop to get. So I have to go over here to open this remote gate to free the Decora, because I need the Decora to break through a wall.
It's kind of funny. A couple of these, we're going to see our first chosen burn pretty soon. A couple of them have some really complicated setups. This being one of them. Others you just kind of find. Some of them are hidden pretty well too.
Yeah, I want to say like a third of them are, like 2/3 of them are fairly easy to find, and 1/3 of them are in the most god-awful convoluted locations.
Yeah, I think that's about right.
This is one of the more convoluted ones for sure. So we're not done with ammo worries yet. I have to open a purple door in the floor here while I'm farming. And then after that, I have to open a green gate and another purple door that hides another green gate, and then a green door. So that gate switch I hit blocks the Guardian directly, which is in the room up here. I'm gonna set up the Shrine Spark to go into this room, because this is a kill X number of enemies door. In this case, it's 6 enemies. There are 3 giant side hoppers in this room. They're very difficult to kill if you don't Shrine Spark them. We're going to get the rest of the kills by just farming the bug in here, because respawning enemies still count towards the number of enemies required by the door.
This used to be one of the most dangerous parts of a run, because didn't really have a good way of killing those side hoppers coming this early.
Yeah, it took like a year and a half probably of running this for us to think of the Shrine Spark strat. That made surviving this so much easier. So there's like a specific speed of spring ball bounce coming out of here. I'm gonna try to go for to try and hit this Metairie. Oh, I didn't even ball up. Ideally, if you get the correct bounce, you can hit the Metairie and then just get out without taking a side hopper hit. So one neat thing about Spring Ball in this hack is you get triple the horizontal bounce speed that you do in vanilla. So there's a lot of ways to use Spring Ball bounces that wouldn't be faster in vanilla, but are in Redesign. And if you can control the height of your bounces really well, in some cases you can avoid obstacles in the room. There's a couple rooms in Criteria where if I do them well, I'll manage to avoid obstacles and keep my speed through the whole room. But it's pretty hard because you're going pretty fast.
Yeah, I mean, even with the heavy physics, once you get the high jump / spring ball, it is a lot more comfy at that point. So the very first thing we're going to do, now that we've gotten back in Criteria, is we're going to get, we're going to do one of the longest Shrine Spark chains in the game. Yeah, this particular super pack, I remember when I saw it the first time, I just could not even fathom how you're supposed to, you could tell it's feet blocks. I couldn't even begin to fathom how you're supposed to pick them up. And then when I finally watched how they were picked up, I'm like, yep.
Not getting that one.
Not getting that one.
I actually do want to pre-open this store because that makes my job here easier. So you have to carry this Shrine Spark chain through quite a few rooms. Which is also why it's important to keep your health up throughout the previous section, because most hacks that have Shrine Spark chaining in Super Metroid modified it to remove the damaging aspect that SM has, but Redesign doesn't. You still take damage, which is like, I know somebody in chat was alluding to that being a crime earlier.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of health management at play.
To be fair, there are a lot of things that Redesign was the first hack to do. That just wasn't one that came up, I guess. I don't know if that was something he didn't think of or didn't want to do, or just...
yeah, it was a very early hack,
yeah.
I guess. But, like, I still think that, like, even if other hacks had been out at the time and it was thought of as an option, I think the creator still would have decided to keep the damage.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Because I just think that's kind of his personality, is to make it harder.
I agree, but yeah, there's just no way of knowing at this point.
I mean, he remade it. There's another version that somebody was asking about called Axial Edition. I much prefer this one. Axial Edition, I will say Axial Edition's a masterpiece of custom code. But I just personally don't like a lot of the things that makes different in the speedrun. And yeah, it's just like different rules, different physics, different features. You don't really have as much freedom to wall jump the same way. Oh, I actually have to kill enemies in this room. I forgot. This is like the pit room in vanilla, or you actually have to kill the pirates going forward and backwards to open the doors on each side.
We just got a $10 donation from Tzedka. Thanks a lot, man. But much appreciated. He's saying, great cause, great content. Thank you, NoReset. Special thank you also to the runners and the couch hosts this evening as well.
Thank you.
So there's a room I'm going to be going into for one of the next items. I'm equipping Ice Beam here. We'll go over the split beams thing in a minute, but I need Ice Beam equipped for the strat I'm going to do. So there's going to be a Metairie that falls from the ceiling. I have to jump up high to trigger it to fall down, and I want to freeze it in place to use it as a platform climbing up. Otherwise, I have to IBJ this room, and it's a bit slower to IBJ it. And this is a really cool strat if I can get it. Oh, baby, let's go. That's one of my favorite non-Shine Spark strats in Hundo.
Yeah, I like that one too.
So again, taking keys from Metroid Prime, since it's like the beams in that are all completely separate from each other. The way you start out in Redesign is when you're getting beams, you cannot stack them. So until you get the beam combo item, which is pretty late in the game, then you're able to. But for the most part, it's like you're playing with Metroid Prime beams.
And actually, it's going to be later in this run than if someone, essentially, in terms of map area completion, than it would be in a casual run. So
a little bit. I mean, people in a casual run might not even find it, so there's that.
Or you could be like me and you get it and you only have one beam.
Okay. That is the less common. Oh, I'm chaining the wrong way. I don't have to chain this.
Yeah, definitely less common to do it that way, but I managed to do it anyway.
The beam combo item is supposed to be locked by Dragon. There is a small sequence break we can do when we're in the relevant area in Meridia to get it before doing the fight. And it saves a lot of like backtracking, basically. But it isn't too significant aside from the backtracking save. By the time we're able to get it, we have enough firepower to wreck the bosses anyway, so it doesn't make a huge difference. So Spazer is pretty hidden. Just lots of like winding hidden tunnels that we had to go through, and you had to figure out to Shine Spark that ceiling. So Spazer, my favorite beam in Redesign, and I'm gonna have to unequip it immediately because I need wave for a wave gate.
Sadly.
But Spazer is basically like a machine gun in this. It's really powerful. It's more powerful than Wave Beam. So in vanilla, Wave Beam is the second most powerful next to Plasma. But in Redesign, it's Spazer that's the second most powerful. That shines Wave by a pretty good bit. It also fires much faster, so. So I want to lay that power bomb high enough so that it breaks the blocks blocking that guardian, but low enough so it also gets the bomb block in this tunnel. It's pretty hard to get it to hit both, and I did manage to get it.
This next guardian, this power bomb pack is the first guardian most casual runners are going to find. You actually see it pretty early behind the blockade there.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you pick up the power bombs, usually the idea is that you're going to land in the hand and see that you've got, oh hey, guardians, like this is a thing beyond just getting the power bombs here.
Yeah, there is a 13th guardian statue at the entrance to Turian that we call the gatekeeper, basically. And if you roll into it, it tells you how many guardians you have left to do. So it basically is the game's way of teaching you what those statues are and what their purpose is.
It's accessible pretty early. Like you could go down there right now and end up at that gatekeeper. Obviously, there's no reason to do that, but.
So I gotta do a Shrine Spark Chain. This isn't supposed to be a Shrine Spark Chain item, but we're actually supposed to have Space Jump for this. So what I'm gonna do is diagonal shot a super block in the ceiling so that I can spark into the hole afterwards. You have to diagonal shot that from the higher slope because you cannot reach it from the bottom. Like the super despawns if you try to shoot it straight up because the ceiling is too high. And that super block also respawns, which is why we have to Shrine Spark up here. So like you could infinite bomb jump up here, but that super block will reform before you're done bomb jumping. So that's not an option.
And you'll notice the other spot is required some infinite bomb jumps there.
Yeah, it's the only way to reach that because there's a feature called Morph Lock. Actually, we can talk about that later if there's something to be read.
Nothing to be read. Well, basically, just a question from Jump Dash Evade in chat asking Azder, how long did it take you to memorize the pathing in this game?
I've been playing this particular ROM hack for like almost 7 years. It's my favorite one. But like getting familiar again with like specifically the 100% route for this took me I guess like 2 or 3 weeks of practicing. I had done the route before. I made the route a few years ago, and I went over the route again, and it still seems pretty efficient. But memorizing it, it just took a few weeks. Some of these items and criteria are really awkward to get without space jump, but we're going to be doing all the rest of the criteria in one go. Once we're done here and gotten gravity suit and all that, there is no reason to come back here. So no matter how awkward the items are to get here, we want to get them before leaving. So this is the west and east core area that we passed through on the way to getting bombs for the first time. There's some like kind of odd items here and there in the sky. The route actually, it's weird, but the route actually makes more sense to do west and east courtyards separately, and a lot of it is because of that remote gate I just hit. I have to get the item behind there from elsewhere, so... We clean up the outdoor area in 2 separate trips here. the major item that we are backing criteria for, as far as progression forward in the game, is Gravity Suit. And we get that by fighting Phantoon. The single wall climb is annoying. There we go.
Yeah, so if you try and get the super missile before hitting that little green gate, you get here and you can't quite get it. Try to remember if you can see the button from where the gate was down there.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't remember.
The button's much easier to find than like the actual front, actually where the super is though.
Yeah, I agree.
So I'm going to re-equip Spazer here for rate of fire purposes. These cargo hives here, I'm going to destroy them to get out of the way. And cargos are... destroying cargos is dictated by number of hits and not HP. And
there's a lot of them in here, in this part of the run, so...
And I also really need the ammo.
Yeah, they're good to refill item too, or refill enemy too.
So that door closing behind me is actually a Phantoon lock. So what that ends up meaning is I have one try to do this spark for this power bomb. It's pretty bad if you miss this Shrine Spark, because behind this section is like a gate shortcut you want to open to get to this area. If I missed that Shrine Spark, I would have to loop around quite a bit. So now we've kind of tunneled under to where East Courtyard is. Now we're going to go clean up East Courtyard from behind. And then after we clean, there's another Guardian in the sky up here. After we do that, we're going to be doing a sequence break that's in most categories. There's a big underwater section of criteria that we have to traverse to get the gravity suit. It's called Criteria Depths. And we're going to be sequence breaking past about 2/3 of it. There's still a lot of it that we have to do, even after that. But there is a trick I'll be doing to skip a good amount of it.
Yeah, something kind of a staple of ROM hacks is some sort of suitless underwater section. In this case, there really isn't any suitless Meridian, except unless you count that small part right before we went right after Kraid. But there is definitely a lot of suitless underwater. And this Guardian, very easy to get to with Space Jump and Screw Attack, but we don't want to come back here as he said earlier, so do it with the Shine Spark instead.
Yeah, so the trick I'm going to use to get to skip a lot of criteria depths is when I go back into this room, I'm going to super to screen shake to get a zoomer crawling onto the wall and lure it down to where the door is. And so you can actually latch onto the zoomers in Redesign with Grapple. It's just a different Grapple AI setting you can change per enemy. Latching onto it briefly before it dies is actually going to let me clip through this gray door. So this gets us a lot farther into the watery part of criteria than we're supposed to be.
Also skip several, I guess 2 metal pirate fights. underwater metal pirate fights that aren't very much fun.
Yeah, the path you loop through here, completely underwater, is very long. So this area is called the Lost Caverns. It's the replacement for the wreck ship. It's much smaller, and it's where Faint Tune is. But essentially, it's just this one room with a Lost Woods style maze with there are graphical keys in certain parts of the foreground. You have to figure out the correct way. I'm going to run back and forth in this tunnel though, and it actually breaks the logic of the teleporters placed in the room, and it saves 1 second compared to the intended solution of the maze.
And hello, Fantoon.
So this fight should be over quicker than vanilla fights, hopefully. I missed the last super. But yeah, because of the missile's higher rate of fire, you're able to stun lock Faint Tune without actually having to walk forwards. So the strategy in vanilla that you use to stun lock Faint Tune is called the Doppler effect, and your missiles aren't quite natively fast enough to keep it in stun lock, but by pushing them forward, you add speed to the missile as it's traveling, and it allows you to hit that pattern. But with the faster rate of fire that we have here, you can just stand still and do it. So now we're going to start the big long underwater Shine Spark chain. There are 2 halves of this. The first half is not too bad. The transition from the first to second half is very precise, and I very often don't get it. That wasn't it. That was the easy part that I messed up. But up sparks happen all the time, unfortunately. Yeah. It's too bad I didn't get more of it.
I know, it's a really, really cool strat when he gets it. And it basically means that you almost do none of the underwater section, which is kind of nice.
Yeah, so the fall down this room, getting that properly is the actual hardest part of it. So the fall off that ledge is very precise, and you have basically no leeway time to hit the ground and spark again.
So yeah, about to get the gravity suit. There it is. Really nice when you're playing this in a casual playthrough, because you just went through this whole long section, and it's kind of your reward. Suddenly you get to go back to more normal movement.
I think it's a very cathartic reward. That's one thing that I feel like the hack does really well. Like you can complain about how unfair it is, and there's parts of it that a lot of people I know won't find fun, but the sense of reward and progression, I think it does very well.
Yeah, actually, this is probably one of my favorite sections of the playthrough when I played through this casually, because I mean, there was a lot of very difficult things you had to do underwater, but it wasn't, it wasn't so death trappy. And then you get the gravity suit. It's one of my favorite gravity. Just nice dark purple. I still contend that the vanilla gravity suit is pink, not purple, although a lot of people will disagree. I think this one's a really nice looking gravity suit.
Yeah, this one's based more on Prime. You can see it has like the traces in Samus's torso, where it still has the normal like Daria suit color, which is what it looks like in Prime. So here there's an E-tank in this room that you're supposed to have space dump for. you have to hit these 3 green gate switches to get it. You can do a really difficult, awkward wall jump here to get up to the switches here. I want to do the right switch first because you can spring ball from there to the left switch without having to do another wall jump. It's a lot of this area we kind of do backwards for item cleanup. It's pretty much all the items you have to get in here require you to come back with gravity anyways. Like you're not getting all this stuff without it. I want to kill one of those crabs to reduce some lag as they get rid of this very sturdy cargo. I have to get this cargo out of the way so I can charge a spark here. Apparently that wasn't good enough. I need a super drop because somehow I did not get one at all. That's unlucky.
Yeah, crabs don't normally drop supers, but in this they can.
Yeah. I expected to get at least one from the cargo, though.
Game said no. That happens sometimes, though.
So I'm gonna dip into the next room to set up a shine spark here through the ceiling. I'm gonna have to do this in one additional room as well. So like again, some of these items expect you to come back with space jump, and we're just not gonna do that. We are expected to go to Meridia after getting Gravity Suit, but this route, the route that I take actually goes to the wrong part of Meridia.
Always the unintended part of Meridia. There's a lot of different ways of getting into Meridia anyway.
Yeah, but the way that I'm going to be getting into Meridia has to do a very awkward gate glitch with the green gate raised off the ground. Doing it will put me right near Bottrine, which has space jump, so it works out pretty ideally, especially with the item collection path that we have to take here.
In the end, there's kind of a equivalent of the Forgotten Highway entrance to Meridia. There's kind of an equivalent of going through the Broken Tube, and this is something completely different.
So I have to do another menu to equip wave here. This is supposed to be like the only forced use of wave beam in the game. With the spike suit, there is a different path you can take. But normally you end up having to go this path at some point because there is a guardian blocked by this path. So it's kind of like if you somehow miss wave in your casual playthrough, you will have to get it eventually for this.
Yeah, I don't know who would miss wave in this.
It's this section actually spits us out to where Bomb Teresa was. That the super blocks are placed in a way that you cannot unmorph to shoot them from the top, so you can only come from the bottom. Once you come from the bottom, they're one of the ones that have a flag associated with them, so they don't come back ever. So that's essentially like a shortcut I've opened back to like the criteria depths. So there's a few items in this area that we need like speed booster and power bombs and stuff to get. This first item I'm gonna get is another Shrine Spark chain. This one's not terribly long, but it's unintuitive like which platforms you're supposed to set it up with in the room. So it's kind of hard to figure out.
Yeah, it's definitely unintuitive. I would definitely say it's a little less so than like the super missile that you got earlier.
I just want to take a quick moment to let everybody know that we're less than $100 from our next milestone, which will turn tomorrow's Super Castlevania 4 run into a whip-only run, and also that all donations go directly to the National Multiple Sclerosis Society, whose goal is to help people affected by multiple sclerosis live their lives to the fullest potential, as well as work towards a world devoid of multiple sclerosis. Sorry about that. Try saying that 5 times in a row.
That's why they pay you the big bucks, right?
Exactly. That's why we say MS instead most of the time, I figure.
Fair enough.
Okay, so I got the Chain Spark key tank. There's just some more stuff to clean up in this area. The next item is kind of nasty. It's in a pretty bad spring ball maze. Oh wait, no, actually there's one missile in between. But the next power bomb, the next like obviously bad item. This one is just right here. So there's a Morph Ball maze to do here. And there are crumble block pits forcing you out of it if you fall down or you go the wrong way or whatnot. And for some of these tunnels, you're expected to spring ball bounce around corners like that, which is really precise. I got those by accident. But like here, we have to get up to this one here and then cross over to the top left, which is super annoying. The crumble block prevents you from doing a straight bomb jump up from the bottom. If you think that's bad, this maze is actually possible without spring ball with IBJs. It's really awful. RBO actually has to do that to get enough ammo for. Well, actually, not RBO. Any route that ends up doing suitless, like Norfair, for whatever reason, I'm going the wrong way. Anyone where you're doing suitless Norfair has to get that power bomb to get enough to Crystal Flash.
I was gonna say, it seemed like a silly, potentially easier version of the power bomb maze for the first power bombs you get in any percent.
Yeah, it won't kill you for failing it. And so it's actually, in some ways, I'd say it's harder if you factor out the death penalty. It's harder to do that one.
Fair enough.
It's not designed to be done with bomb jumps at all. Whereas the one for alternate first PBs is. So there's a guardian in this room, and it's kind of hidden, but this cargo being in the way and taking a lot of shots is kind of supposed to be the clue. But still, going back behind the tunnel here,
the power bomb doesn't help. Like the power bomb there says, well, okay, this room is just here for the power bomb, so I feel like the power bomb kind of leads you away from actually getting to the guardian.
Should call this the Billy Mays Guardian.
There you go. But wait, there's more.
But wait, you have to do this to beat the game. This is an offer you cannot refuse.
You want to beat the game? Do this.
So now that we've done that Guardian, we're in a very good position to go through like the intended path through Meridia, which is like the Forgotten Highway path. But we're actually just going to route backwards back through here to pick up some more items and then get to the unintended one that puts us near Botfoon, where we have to do the gate glitch. So the gate glitch is a big reason I was sitting there farming supers for a long time in one of the previous tunnels. Because green gates require super missiles, and this one in particular, because it's raised off the ground, it's a very awkward shot. Luckily, there's a save point that I can reset from if I miss it, but it's generally really bad to miss this one. This wall jump is difficult. There we go. So this is actually the first room in Criteria Depths. It's supposed to be the first room on the intended path, and we're exiting out the intended entrance.
I mean, to be fair, you would still exit out this way if you couldn't sequence break it, but yeah. So.
No, you wouldn't. You just go out.
Okay, I see. Oh, because you
you go Forgotten Highway if you're going the correct way.
But would you not route it the same way for the speedrun? I guess it's irrelevant because we don't have to worry about that.
I didn't think in this context we'd be talking about the speedrun. But I don't actually remember what I said now. No, so that's just the intended entrance to the area.
Yeah.
And we're using it as the exit. In like a casual playthrough, you wouldn't be exiting out of there. Okay, 5 supers here is actually pretty good, even though it doesn't sound like it. So we're about to do the gate glitch. This elevator goes to Meridia, and the door to the right actually goes to Turian. So Turian's actually in Meridia, which is part of the reason I'm making a big deal about never going back to Criteria, is because Turian's not actually technically attached to it. But this gate is in a very awkward position. I'm surprised I actually got that. And immediately when we get into Meridian, we're just going to do another Schweizberg chain for an item.
Because why not?
Because that's what this game expects. Oh, I got the gate shot from above. I enjoy getting that blind shot. This E-Tank is awkward to get without space jump, but I would like to have it now versus later. So I'm going to make the wall jump up to get it now.
Yeah, I don't think that one's too bad to get without space jump, as opposed to some of the stuff in Criteria.
It's not terrible, but it's definitely not comfy.
Okay, if you all remember how I talked about some of the Guardians are locked behind a complicated set of things. We're not going to see the Guardian that we're dealing with right now, but this is one of those complicated set of things. This is probably the most complicated one.
Yeah, I'd say this is the number one most complicated, convoluted one in the run. So there's, below me, there's a hall of gates, and there are 4 gates, which is 2 on the top, 2 above the room and 2 below the room. I'm doing the switches that are above right now because they're on the way.
The below ones are not for a while, actually.
Yeah, the Guardian that this unlocks is the very last one that we do in the run, so we'll have to take a rain check on the rest of that puzzle.
Yep.
It's a pretty evil one too, because it basically makes you think that your reward for getting it is just a power bomb. It's the Guardian is hidden in the ceiling afterwards, and it's not very easy to find. Okay, so bot tune fight.
Yeah, Botswan has a couple weaknesses.
Yeah, Bottoon's weak to bombs. Not that much more than by Spazer. Spazer does pretty good damage too. But enough that it's worth going for some shots.
Botswan also has a weakness to screw attack, and in some categories will actually have screw attack here. Not this one.
Yeah, any percent does this with screw attack.
Also, I wanted to point out that Shine Spark he did to get in here isn't really necessary to be a chain spark. You just need to hold it long enough to break those blocks.
Yeah, it is nasty to get back up there though if you miss it.
It really is. Yeah.
There are some shortcuts you can open, but because we didn't go the intended path,
yeah,
the shortcuts are not places that we've been. So
the other thing I'm going to mention.
Sorry, go on.
Yeah. The other thing I'm going to mention, this door that he just opened shares its ID with another door. So if you ever get into this part where that door is blue, which is super useful if you have trouble with the fight, it's because there's another door somewhere in Norfair that will now be open for us because they share an ID.
Yeah, it's because like this hack is so large that he actually ran out of door IDs to work with. Oh crap! I need to get that item. He ran out of door IDs to work with when he was making it. So yeah, some doors are actually just shared with other ones. So if you open one, the other one will be gone.
Yep, I just wanted to quickly mention a new donation that we just got from Sikri, who sent us a $25 donation, sending everybody in chat and all the people working on the run, everybody on the technical side of things, a big epic hug. Thanks a lot, Sikri, much appreciated. And that does bring us a good bit closer to the whip only milestone. So we're now only $67.73 short.
So we're gonna blow this tube open. The code for the glass tubes is actually changed in this, and they don't freeze you in place when you trigger them to blow open anymore. So you can actually just leave the room after you powerbomb it, and it will set the flag without having to wait for it. And there's a nice required speed ball for these supers. And there's an unrequired cat. I didn't have to get the cat, that was a bonus. That's a tough door shot. You actually have to shoot at on a very specific slope. Because the angle that you're moving actually affects the trajectory of your shots. So if you are on the wrong slope when you do that shot, it will not hit the door because it will go more like flush in line with the ramp that you're walking on. So this is a good farm spot to get back up to full. And now we're back in Norfair. We're going to be able to get Screw Attack and enter Lower Norfair. Not entering it the intended way. This is actually, I just passed by the intended entrance to it. You're supposed to powerbomb that lava floor. Nice gate shot. Sounds like something pretty awesome happened.
Well, yeah, I'm seeing a whole lot of we got it.
Boom, yep, just like that, with another beautiful $70 donation from Valthus. We just hit our milestone for the whip only run tomorrow.
Nice.
Is that for Castlevania 4?
Yep, Super Castlevania 4 at 11 a.m. with Dickapound.
Nice.
So I think we just made it official that we won't be seeing any world records tomorrow.
Wow, I didn't even get the powerbomb I meant to farm there.
But yeah, a little more cleanup in the Norfair area before we can go ahead and grab that screw tap. A little more cleanup after that, and then we'll hit Lower Norfair.
This particular E-tank is actually really far out of the way. So what's nice is we don't have to worry about not having space jump for these items, because it was eventually on our route, so we don't have to do a bunch of awkward grapples and stuff to get some of these anymore.
Yep, this E-tank in particular that he just got, you could get there right after the whole Grapple Gauntlet section, and that's another room that can kill you pretty quickly if you fall into the lava there.
It's a pretty good way to lose your save.
Yeah.
After doing that.
Yeah. I know I died trying to get that E-tank, but I did save before trying to get that E-tank, so wasn't too bad.
I mentioned Screw Attack launches you forward, but Space Jump actually also gives you a boost to the horizontal aspect of your spin jumps. Which just makes jumping in general nicer once you get it. Actually, a space jump, spin jump without Screw Attack is actually the form of movement with the highest acceleration in the game. The screw attack actually has a bit of startup lag to it.
Yeah, the space jump in underwater in particular actually feels pretty good in this game until you get to sand. This is another item. It's not too bad to get early when we're in this area earlier on, but it's much easier with Spring Ball than to try and do it with bomb jumps.
Yeah, it's actually like fewer door transitions to get if we get it on the way out from Grapple before. But I timed it, and it's so much slower to do that maze without Spring Ball that it's still better to do it now.
Just wanted to let everybody know that the next milestone is $1,750 and is for the Ori and the Will of the Wisps run for tomorrow. If we hit that milestone, that run will be done grapple-less.
Okay, so that the screw attack in some other categories, we don't have space jump for it, and we do some interesting shine sparking to get that item.
Yeah, it's not too bad. It's just one shine spark chain you have to do to get it. But basically, if you don't get the chain inside the alcove directly, you have to swim through the pool of lava to get out. And unless you have strats for that getting out, you will probably die if you don't have gravity. In some categories where it gets there's one category where it gets screw attack very early, where it's basically if you miss that shine spark into the screw attack alcove, you die. Also, what I'm hearing from all these donation incentives is there's a lot of people not 100%ing their games. So
go ahead.
I pre-opened the door on the right side of this room because I actually set up Shine Spark from inside of here. Because it actually chains far into the next room to get an item here. There we go, that's all. I think you were gonna say something about the Guardian.
Yeah, that Guardian is so there's a power bomb there, and if you don't power bomb in that location, it's easy to miss that Guardian. But one of the things that the game does is if you look at your map, and of course we'll never do that, you'll see a little icon that indicates that there's a Guardian there. So even if you missed it, as long as you hit that room tile, you're gonna know to come back and try power bombing there.
Alright, so the next item I'm gonna get is I consider this to be the true Indiana Jones missile of Super Metroid.
Yep.
The one that people refer to in like vanilla and randomizer and stuff is done by Grapple Swings, but this one is you get a boulder to break the wall for you. Ideally, if you're a normal person, you probably also try to dodge the boulder, but we're fine tanking it. But yeah, the puzzle element of that room is you have to power bomb the blocks out of the way, because the power bomb blocks the boulder will break on.
Yeah, I like that one.
So we're at the grapple save here. I am gonna safety save here again for a pretty different reason. Gonna be doing a trick to get into the back of the Lower Norfair that has a chance of soft locking if you mess it up.
Now, if he gets this trick right away, it will look like nothing. that's the sad part about it. But it's actually a really difficult trick. I'll talk about it in just a second.
You can explain it now. I'm not doing anything on the way there. Really.
Okay, fair enough. I mean, we're gonna we'll clip into the ceiling of the grapple room, but then He's gonna get to a spot where there's a, we've I don't know how much we talked about the morph unmorph tiles, but there are tiles several places in this game where it's gonna force you to stay morphed. And in order to break into Lower Norfair from this direction, so this is supposed to be an exit from, not an entrance to. He needs to do a series of bomb jumps and spring ball jumps, and even if he gets this exactly right, it's still a 50% chance it's going to fail because it's got one of those. It's got a collision oscillator there that 50% of the time is going to check it, and 50% of the time it's not. So those of you that are familiar,
there we go. I got it.
With the task tank or taco tank from the RBO run that Zenny does, and I guess Zos now more recently has picked up. It's the same idea.
Yeah, so basically I have to do a frame perfect spring ball bounce to skip a morph lock trigger to allow me to unmorph and shoot a super through the tunnel. And morph lock is like, it's not a feature in vanilla. It's a thing people put into hacks because they're mean. Yeah. They want to force you to do morph ball tunnels in a specific way.
And they're all over the place in this game. We just haven't really talked about them up until that point.
Yeah, it's why some of the items in this are IBJ required. But yeah, so you have to do a frame perfect spring ball jump to skip the morph lock trigger, and there's a 50% chance that it doesn't work even if you do it on the right frame.
So a couple of minutes ago, I may have mentioned in chat that I would shave my head if we got $100 in donations within the next hour. And at this point, Nico Plays Things just donated $20 to get the ball started.
So it's kind of fun. I really like this area. I just feel like this is like watches. I don't know if I like this is the frantic movements of the screw attacker. Kind of interesting here. Also going to point out that a lot of the tiling sets here, this is supposed to harken back to the first Metroid game.
Yeah, so this is a big callback area. I haven't played Metroid very much, so a lot of some of the rooms I actually I did not recognize were modeled after Metroid until way later, seeing other people play Metroid randomizers and stuff, and just being like, oh hey, I recognize that room from Redesign.
Yeah, exactly. I'm the other way. I played the original, so
like the fact that I can watch people do rooms in Metroid and then realize that Redesign
took
it from them. Yeah. Is a pretty good testament to how well they're implemented into Redesign.
Okay, and that gate glitch allows some more skipping of ninja pirates.
Yeah, there
metal pirates.
There are 3 sets of metal pirates you're supposed to fight throughout this game, and we don't do a single one. Oh, okay, so Ridley fight. He's weak to pseudo screws, but his body does triple damage to you than it does normally.
Also, X factors are really good here.
Yeah, he takes a lot of damage from charge, specifically. Missile's fast rate of fire does a really good job against him. More so than the supers, just because the supers fire slowly.
Yeah, I mean, for those of you that haven't played this game, you can probably get an idea by watching, but I mean, it's agonizingly slow, those super missiles.
Okay, that is not ideal. Are you not dead? He's not dead. Uh-oh. How are you not dead? I don't understand. Okay, well, that happened.
Oh boy.
Save's not too far back because I
saved before.
I didn't.
Yeah.
I should have saved before Ridley, but I don't die to him very often. But we still have like the soft lock prevention save.
All right. In the meantime, I have Master Fred that also donated a $20. They gave a $20 donation, mentioning that Nico gave to start the ball, and he is giving to start the bald. Thanks a lot, Master Fred.
I honestly have no idea how he didn't die, because I hit him with 2 pseudo screws after he turned red, and that's supposed to do 9,600 damage. I don't understand what happened.
Well, good to see this again. Yeah, I was going to say, one of the nice things with the way the screw attack works, in that you have to be holding the run button, is that you don't have to actually turn off screw attack to do a pseudo screw here.
Yeah, it's possible the tail might have eaten one, because like the tail is like technically a separate enemy. I never thought of that. I don't know if I've ever had that happen before. But yeah, that would make sense.
Okay, so we gotta get that super missile again. I think that's the only item we get before Ridley.
No,
there's another
ceiling missiles, but that's like kind of in your face.
Actually, this super missile that he's going to pick up again does kind of make me think of there's one item in the original. Because we talked about how this is, harkens back to the original Metroid. There's this one missile that's behind this big pillar. That it's the one place where, as far as I can tell, you have to use a special kind of bomb jump in the original game. So you can see it from one direction, but you got to come back from the other side to get it.
Too soon. Yeah, it was only 4 years ago that I had a Redesign Hundo run for NoReset, and I forgot 3 items. A lot of people's first playthroughs of this hack are like
very long,
over 24 hours real time.
Yeah, I know mine was real time, but I managed to keep this just under 20 hours in game time.
Okay, I'm gonna save before Ridley this time. I think one of the reasons I'm not in the habit of taking the save is because if you take the save, it changes the key hunter's flight down here. Oh, that was a really good X Factor. Let's go.
Yeah, getting that second one is really nice like that.
See, that should not have been that difficult.
See, that's yeah.
It's mostly just because, like, so if you're not familiar with how Ridley works in Super Metroid, he doesn't die right away when he hits 0 HP. You have to either run out his grab attempt counter or get grabbed in his claws before he explodes. And so you kind of have to keep track of his health somewhat, or be able to like read his patterns and be able to tell when he's dead based on that. The last fight, I was very convinced that he was dead because I did the math, and I guess one of the pseudos missed. But I was very convinced that he should have been at 0 HP, and he wasn't. So that turned out pretty badly. Because like when you think he's dead, you're gonna let him try to grab you. Generally, that's generally how you do it.
And then now the GT fight right after Ridley. Kind of a little bit of a boss rush here.
Yeah, you were locked into this area. And then once you beat Ridley, this one door opens, and there's Gold Chorizo, and then you have to beat him to get out.
Now you'll notice that you were ideally, well, not ideally. Ideally, you do get this what he's doing right now, kind of the cheese strat. It was designed so you wouldn't be able to do the cheese strat, because the Gold Chorizo, when he goes by these floors, he gets rid of them. They're their blocks are destroyed by enemies. But if you can get him to jump in the right way, and you can do this on either side. In fact, I'm used to you doing it on the other side. You can get him to jump over this last one, so that you can just kind of sit on the edge of it and still get this nice little position to fire these charge shots. The other thing I want to point out is, a few rooms back, the E-Tank after Ridley, for those of you maybe might have looked familiar, that definitely is a room that harkens back to the original Metroid. Even right down to being able to walk on top of the acid for the E-Tank that's behind Ridley in the original game.
Yeah, there's one hole in there, which I fell in, if you noticed. I'm guessing that like invisible hole is there.
I think it's there in the original, but maybe if Metroid MST is in chat, he could enlighten us for sure, but I'm pretty certain that hole is there. But yeah, that Golden Chorizo fight is a pretty difficult one. There's no way to have Plasma Beam there. At best, you have Beam combo with Ice Charge Ice Wave Spacer. Is there a hole in the lava in M1 behind Ridley getting the E-Tank? Yeah. He says, yes, there is, so I'm right.
So here is some post locked by Ridley door content, which is this pretty lengthy Giant Spark puzzle that is all for A2 missile pack. So
yeah, it's kind of funny. Some of these tricks are all for these just 2 missile packs, so yeah.
Oh, I have to Giant Spark here again. I specifically get it so that I get enough run space to Shine Spark there, and then I forget to actually Shine Spark.
Also, you'll notice him spring balling through that tunnel. I think we talked about how spring ball gives you faster speed. I guess not doing on the way back, but with the Morph Ball, right?
It's not faster to do if you're not already carrying speed as you.
Yeah, okay, that's what I was thinking. But because he'd done a Morph Ball in going the previous direction, spring balling makes it a little bit faster. Not something you see in vanilla.
So now we're...
Sorry, go on.
Go ahead.
Oh yeah, quick heads up that the fate of the animals is still lies in the balance. $417 to save them against $295 to kill the animals. So any of you speedrunners out there better get on the ball because we got to save those frames. And quick note that all donations go to the National MS Society, who are working towards making the world free of multiple sclerosis while helping people affected by it live their lives to the fullest.
So we're basically going to be going through a lot of Lore and Warfare backwards here, because we backdoored it at a spot that's pretty close to the end. So we have to clean up all the items that were more so in the front. It just routes better coming from the back, and we have the benefit of being able to skip a lot of the ammo-consuming door caps that are in the way if we take the back door.
Well, and the normal entrance is pretty long. And there's plasma, which sadly gets skipped now in the new route of any percent because you come in here without a gravity suit and it's really not viable to pick up anymore.
Yeah, any percent new route finishes on Spazer, and without plasma, it's not really worth it to get the beam combo upgrade. So you were doing Mother Brain on just a charged Spazer, basically. So this room, I just recently named the Super 8. I don't know how I didn't think of this room before. But if you're going forward, there is this super blockade here. That's 8 blocks in a row. There's 4 more stacked on top of that. I'm going to shoot the bottom one. The trigger for it disappearing is shooting the very last one. So when I come back through that room later, that whole super column is going to be gone. But in the intended way, forwards through Lore and Warfare, that's basically an ammo check. You have to shoot 8 super missiles straight down in that column to get through.
Yeah, and it's very awkward for where you understand to actually start the shots. You're guaranteed to take damage there. Yeah,
there's a Namahe shooting you at the spot that you have to stand. So you actually have to like manage the knockback from it as well. The whole reason to kill Ridley and Gold Chorizo normally is to unlock the door for the Lore and Warfare Guardian.
It's kind of sad we don't get to see getting that one the way you do it in any percentage. That's actually pretty cool, I think.
Yeah, it's a very like Gravitron Lava Dive-esque kind of thing.
Yep.
But the different categories of Redesign show off a lot of different things. I've not done like an RBO yet or an updated low percent, which I'd like to get around to at some point. But like every category brings something really different to the table in this. Yeah, so this room, in any percent, you don't have gravity for this. It's like you have 5 tanks, no gravity for this. You can do it in 4, but that's cutting it really close. So, in any percent, that's basically the only thing you come to Lore and Warfare for is that Guardian. I don't think I was far left enough for this. Well, I'll see if that power bomb actually blew up the blocks that I needed it to. Oh, it did. Okay, that's good enough. So the final counts are supposed to be 300 missiles, 30 supers, 30 power bombs. As far as current ammo goes, we're not going to get anywhere close to seeing those counts, just because we use so many resources to actually get the items.
And unfortunately, the ship's way out of the way by the time we get to the point where we're done. So
yeah, I mean, I already said we're not ever going back to Criterion.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's another one of the alternate exits from Lower Norfair.
I feel like this is probably the easiest exit to find.
Yeah, actually, you can find this. It's actually pretty easy to find this one just before you even get anything.
Which is usually not what you want to do because you haven't killed Ridley yet.
Yep, exactly.
And it's kind of a forced one. So Hundo absolutely has to exit through here because there's a power bomb here that you can only get shine sparking out of Lower Norfair. This room, you initially go through this room when you're doing the ice hall run, if you actually do it. It has an E-tank in the ceiling. This is basically modeled after Magbor Transport Tunnel A in Prime 1. So I like that a Prime room basically has a cameo here. Metroid Prime stole that room. But Redesign stole the Magbor Caverns theme for Lost Caverns, so. I'd call it even. They're basically just down to cleaning up West Upper Norfair.
Yeah, one more Guardian as well. But yeah, just some item cleanup. We're actually going to be going back to the speed booster escape, because there is actually an item in like the post-apocalyptic room state there. You can actually see that item in the floor if you power bomb it. On your way in, you can see there's an item underneath the floor, but there's like no indication at all of how to get it. Basically, you have to come back after the room fills with lava. The item up here is okay. Let me try that again. Item up here is has a pretty interesting puzzle to get it.
So there's going to be a cosine shaped room with lava tied in it, and lava will prevent you from running and charging a Shrine Spark. So you have to time your Shrine Spark charge in here. Like, you have to time the run so that it allows you to get off a charge. And then on the way out, there's a temporary blue suit strat that lets you just fall down all the speed blocks that I Shine Sparked up in one motion. It's pretty tough, so I hope I get it. I haven't gotten it in a run yet, I don't think. It actually does use X-ray a little bit. Oh, I didn't get it.
The X-ray addition to it is pretty new too.
Yeah, that's an idea I thought of like a week ago. It's kind of hard to explain, but the strategy for temporary blue suit there requires waiting out the Shrine Spark timer in a crouch so that you don't accidentally use the Shrine Spark when you're trying to jump. But using X-ray there actually gets rid of the waiting period, because using X-ray actually zeroes out your Shrine Spark timer. So it's a quicker way to do the easier strat there. It's honestly, it's a strat that is not going to make any sense unless you see it done successfully. Unfortunately, there's some strats like that. This room is actually, well, it's also ripped off from Metroidvaniathon, but there is actually one of those like Norfair Nestroid bomb tunnels into a Ridley face at the end.
Yep.
And that Ridley face is another exit from Lower Norfair. It would be more efficient to take it if it weren't for the power bomb in the tunnel that forces me to take the other exit. So the next missile that I'm going to get, this is another very involved puzzle for literally a 2-missile pack. But there is a Morphlock skip I can do in this tunnel as long as I stay bouncing with Spring Ball when I get into the side of this tunnel. And it makes it so you don't have to do any diagonal IBJs for this section. And you can unmorph in some of these tunnels where you're not supposed to be able to. Speeds up getting through them a little bit. Okay, so now I am going to get the alternate power bomb that we get in any percent instead of fighting Croc. There's this big death maze of horizontal bomb jumps that you have to do, bracing against walls. And if you fall, you probably fall in the lava and die. But if you come back here with Space Jump, you can just skip the maze by supering the wall, going through a secret passage there. The maze's only purpose is really to allow you to get this power bomb as your first pack without Space Jump. as a way to do challenge runs. Because if you leave Croc alive, you can get speed early. So that's the main purpose of that monstrosity of the maze. Oh, right. I didn't try and spark this earlier because
Low health.
I was low on health. So this speed booster wall is in the way, and I didn't realize it was going to be there.
I guess it's never going away.
So that is actually like, if you're like just seeing a redesigned speedrun for the first time, you hear me talking about like blockades that are removed once you hit the triggers for them. You don't really notice that in a speedrun. Just because I'm not revisiting areas too much, you notice it more in a casual playthrough. But the fact that I failed to shine spark that wall is one indicator of how it would work. At least that wall is supposed to be gone, and it isn't.
And this is our last Norfair Guardian.
There is one more item left in Norfair, and then we're done with Norfair.
Yeah, so with the Guardians, most of the time, in 3 out of the 4 areas, there's a East, Central, and West Guardian, essentially, in terms of their location. We're gonna
Oh,
see
by the way, I finally get to spark up this shaft that I did before.
Anyway, so there's the East, West, and Central Guardian to each area. We're going to see in Brinstar that's just not the case. We saw one of the Guardians already, but the other 2 are decidedly close together.
They're literally one room apart.
One room apart, yeah.
They're big rooms though, so it probably doesn't feel like it. So I want to get power bomb drops here because I'm extremely low, but the game just refuses to give me any. I think it might actually want me to have full supers before it gives me any, which is not supposed to happen the way the drop tables are in vanilla, but Redesign's drop tables are kind of broken. So this is the last item in Norfair. Have fun finding that one without a map. I thought there was an item dot for it on the map, but there actually isn't. So I'm not sure how you find that one.
Perseverance, I guess. I don't know.
Actually, some of these, some of the Guardians are incredibly hidden, and a lot of people's end games after killing all the bosses is X-raying the entire planet looking for the Guardians.
Yeah, that's fair.
So that will actually...
I think I was missing all but 2 of the Guardians when I quote-unquote finished the rest of the game, but I never found X-ray scope, so... Oh,
that's true. You never found it. If you find it, X-ray is pretty hidden, honestly, so... but if you do find it, X-raying the world looking for the Guardians will probably get you a lot of these really hidden missile packs and such.
So yeah, we'll do the rest of the Brinstar cleanup and get the last 2 Brinstar Guardians here.
Yeah, this is the intended entrance to Red Brinstar that you're supposed to go through at the start of the game. And this 10 missile pack in the wall was actually very useful back when the route actually went the intended way. It was really nice to just be able to have 25 when you're in North here. Ironically, on the route where the route that sequence breaks such that we don't get to pass by charge is the one where we end up being deprived of missiles as well.
All right, I'll just get a quick word in if you guys don't mind.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, this is your humble host here again. I saw somebody mention a question regarding upcoming milestones in chat a bit earlier on. I just want to go over those real quick. So our next one is for Ori and the Will of the Wisps, a run being done by Seal tomorrow. Once we hit $1,750, they'll be completing the run without using the game's grapple ability, which will make things a good bit more difficult. Afterwards, our upcoming milestones will be for the Axiom Verge randomizer, one of those being playing through the hard mode, and another one being doing the boss rush on the randomizer. Afterwards, we also have another milestone for Vision Soft Reset, so to get the true ending, followed by another milestone for the messenger that we've called Nice Hat Bro, which involves the runner wearing the same hat as the character from the messenger from a certain point on during the run. Now, a quick reminder that worldwide there are more than 2.3 million people that have a diagnosis of multiple sclerosis. All donations go towards the National MS Society, whose mission it is to work towards a permanent cure for multiple sclerosis, as well as helping people affected by MS live their life to the fullest.
I do have to agree that is a nice hat.
Okay, so we just did Spike Guardian, which is one of the more annoying ones. Although the fact that you have these tunnels around the spikes make it definitely suspicious.
This Wild Blue Missile is one of my least favorite.
Terrible one.
It's not that hard, but it's just super annoying. I don't mind the Spike Guardian, at least like knowing it's there. Actually the tunnels that get you there are very enticing. Like if you catch a glimpse of that path early game when you're still suitless, it looks very suspiciously like something really good and really hidden is back here. I
think this one's maybe a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, this one is harder to find. The Spike Guardian's pretty enticing though, but it just lures you into a huge tunnel full of spikes. If you don't have gravity, you're unlikely to survive it.
Well, certainly at the early times you're going to be there, you're not only not going to have gravity, you're going to have a lot fewer E-tanks, so yeah.
Mm-hmm. This power bomb is pretty hidden. You have to test all of the tubes in this ceiling. I like how this map tile is just not even connected to any of the other ones.
Yeah, it is kind of cool.
This is actually the hallway where we broke into Redburn Star at the start of the game, where I nearly died. Actually, I never really had too many issues with dying here early game, so that was pretty scary. I don't know how I managed to get this low on power bombs here again, but I think we're still gonna be okay. Crabs can drop power bombs, but they're not quite as likely to as they are in vanilla, because in Redesign they can also drop supers. So we're going to be doing some minor cleanup on the way to Dragon. And one of the things that we're going to get that is supposed to be for after Dragon is the beam combo. So beam combo is supposed to be guarded by a remote blue gate switch. You have to go through this really long tunnel to bomb all the way at the end before you can open it up. And the tunnel itself is locked behind a Dragon locked door. Now it looks like it's a blue switch, so you'd think Wave Beam could hit it. But they tried to prevent you from hitting it with Wave Beam by lining the tunnel with enemy shutters that are invulnerable to beams, just to block it from getting hit. But there is a trick shot that we can do. Because enemy interactions don't get processed for enemies that aren't set to move off screen. We shoot a wave shot such that the enemy isn't on screen at the time that the shot would be passing through it. We can scroll the screen upwards after that at a time where it would hit the gate switch past the enemy, if that makes sense. Also, that's another Metroid room. That one's pretty blatant.
Although that one harkens back to the high jump boots, where you can go behind it, which, of course, for those of us old enough to have played that game and not been able to figure that out until, I believe, until Nintendo Power told us where that was. But hey, you can go behind high jump boots and get stuff.
No, it's actually not like Spore Spawn Skip. Because Spore Spawn Skip doesn't have to do with bypassing an enemy. It has to do with since Spore Spawn Skip in vanilla has to do with your shots disappear when your projectiles disappear when they've been off screen for 2 frames. So you line up the camera exactly so that your super hits the block off screen first before it despawns. So that's like a precise lineup. This is manipulating it so that an enemy actually despawns. I guess the main distinction is the Spore Spawn Skip doesn't involve bypassing an enemy, and it doesn't have to do with despawning anything. Okay, so this is the room with the beam combo, and I'm gonna do the shot here. Just heard that was that crick was the enemy, the shutter lining the wall getting hit instead. Second time that you heard something is me hitting the gate. So getting the beam combo before Dragon is going to let us have the full beam for Dragon, which is just going to make the fight a little bit faster. It's not going to be huge. Really, the big time save of this is we don't have to take like a 5-minute detour to get that tunnel done.
Also going to point out, since you're not expected to have screw attack here, screw attack's going to make this a lot easier. This section here is going to be space jumping across. You can do it in basically one combination space jump screw attack. In some cases with a wall jump. Without screw attack, you're meant to. There's a line in the center of the sandfall where you're meant to space jump at. You can't really do a whole. The sandfall kind of nerfs your space jump. So the idea is you just space jump right in that center part to get to the other side. And with screw attack, it kind of renders that unnecessary. Of course, the one bad part about having the full beam combo and the so-called microwave with the X-ray, we don't get to show off the bomb strats for Dragon.
Yeah, we do that at any percent though, so there's a category for everything.
Except the hell runs.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, if you can almost beat the entire game without picking up either suit, but there's literally one guardian that you can't do without one of the suits for a really annoying reason. It's actually the lava guardian in Norfair that you can't do, and it's because there's custom code in this that insta kills you if you try to crystal flash in lava without gravity suit. Crystal flash is the special technique you usually see in reverse boss order, where you trade 10 of each ammo for a health refill, essentially.
And now some more Meridia cleanup. We still have 2 more Meridia guard. No, wait, we have all 3 Meridia guards still to get.
Yeah.
One, of course, one is not surprisingly locked behind Dragon. One is part of the gates that we were opening up earlier, and for some reason, one is locked behind Ridley.
Yeah.
Which I don't think any of us have quite figured out why that is, but why not? I guess.
I like it.
It's different for sure.
What's the word? It's obscure.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's a glass tube that basically has no way to enter it from either side. You'd see it from the bottom and the top, and it's like this big mystery in how the heck you're supposed to get into it.
Why it exists even, really.
How to break it. And it turns out it breaks open after you kill Ridley and hit a trigger. Which is not something that you're gonna figure out yourself. You're just gonna come back to it at one point later in a game, and it's going to break, and you're not gonna understand why.
Pretty much, yeah.
So this tube, that room looks like it has nothing in it except for the tube, but it's got a hidden passage in the ceiling that leads to some more items and another passage through Meridia. So I really like that something was hidden in one of those rooms. There's actually several of those 1x1 glass tube rooms where you can break the tube, but there's nothing else in the room. But that particular one, there is a passage in the ceiling.
This is the Dragon locked guardian here.
Yeah, the super evil one is also, but the Hall of Gates itself is also Dragon locked. So there's 2 in here that require Dragon, but this one doesn't require very much else. The Hall of Gates one has pretty ridiculous requirements.
I'm still sad that this one in particular is only a 2. Feels like it's pretty hidden.
Yeah, it's kind of far out of the way too. Meanwhile, the one that is actually kind of in your face down here is a 10, at least once you get through the speed wall.
Yep.
Like if you come here from the middle door here, you see the speed blocks below, and you know, you have to come through and break them from a different direction.
Yep.
So there is some intrigue to it, depending where you come from, at least. Okay, so I just skipped the scroll trigger that's in front of this door by accident. The camera's gonna do some things. that
Okay, that was cool to show off. I mean,
that is actually an artifact of the fact that he crammed multiple rooms into the same room, essentially. Just because of running out of number of room entries in the table.
I was kind of curious to know how they managed to pull that off too. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, it actually makes some of the rooms laggier if there's a lot more enemies loaded in them, because there's like maybe 2 or 3 extra rooms loaded off screen that you can't see for some of them. Another interesting side effect of that actually is that you can X-ray climb to get in between those rooms, and it's technically still in bounds because they're technically the same room. So there's actually there are X-ray climbs that can actually reach the respective guardians without killing Ridley and Dragon, but it's the Ridley one might be faster for any percent. I still have to do some timing regarding that, and it's not a particularly fun route. But the Dragon one is way slower. There's a lot more setup involved for that one. So we're finally back here. I've been to this junction like 3 or 4 times. But this is the first time that we're passing through it, traveling left, and have the tube open already. So this is the time where it actually makes sense to do the chain spark for this reserve tank. Watching X-ray climb is pretty Resident Sleeper, but the effects of it in Redesign, the possible applications of it, are pretty absurd. So like, I think we touched on every boss is technically skippable. It's just not faster to do so. But you can get to the Mother Brain with none of the main bosses defeated, and then escape the escape, and then beat all of the bosses without your equipment. So we, that's the RBO category that we're going to have once they do a run of it. It's quite ridiculous. It's probably going to take much longer than the low percent. If you say X-ray climb is Resident Sleeper, I hope you like watching underwater infinite bomb jumps. There used to be one in the long percent route that to skip grapple that took like 15 minutes. And that was like, if you got it first try, that's like 15 minutes per attempt. If assuming you don't mess it up. And if you mess it up, you have to start over. So yeah, you can't actually infinite bomb jump underwater in this. It's just very slow. You rise up a very small amount if you time it well. Unlike vanilla, where you actually just sink. But I can't speak to the rest of my ammo counts. They were correct at some earlier points in the run. But I can at least verify that my E-tank count is correct.
Yeah, and we know the reserves are correct, Jim. So.
Yeah, those are easy to count.
Yeah, count to 4.
So this bomb jump across this sandfall, you have to do to start setting up the bottom gates for the Hall of Gates. There's a trick shot you can do there with Wave Beam to get the bottom left gate here. It's just barely reachable with a Wave Beam shot, even though it's not intended to be. The top right gate is also reachable with Wave Beam, but I didn't have Wave equipped at the time, so I didn't do it. Okay, so now we have the Hall of Gates open.
After all that. And we have to open a purple door. Because, of course, purple doors are everywhere.
So there's actually, in the room I was just in, there is a power bomb hidden. It's really not too hard to find. And it's very plausible that that power bomb is the entire reason you had to do that puzzle. So it's decently likely for people to just not think to check the ceiling here for the Guardian. One of the changes Axial Edition made was not obscuring that Guardian, just having an open ceiling there.
Did you get the power bomb?
No, I get it on the way back because it's faster. It's faster to get it when you're going left because it's behind a bomb block on the right side of it.
No, of course.
X-Ray does show the ceiling. I'm not sure if MST is talking about like a really ancient redesigned version or something. So this Hall of Gates actually doubles as an alternate place to start one of the longest Shrine Spark chains in the game. There's a different place that you're intended to start this one, but it requires some setup, some additional setup. So it's preferable to do it from here since we have to go through here anyways. I think this is the longest one in the game. It's not the last one though, and it's not the most annoying one. The most annoying one comes right after this one. It's really easy to get knocked out of position by that menu. And then have to redo the entire chain.
There's our last E-tank. Yeah, there's this power bomb pack that you're gonna see playing casually, and it's another one of those, like the super earlier. And you look at it and you're like, how exactly?
The setup for climbing back up to the chain spot here is obnoxious. I'm pretty sure that's not intended and that you're supposed to loop through the rooms again. But even so, this chain is annoying because there are snails, there are yards in this room that, depending on how they bounce, they can decide to become solid. And if that one just decides to be solid when you're trying to chain off that slope, you will bonk on it. I have to redo the chain.
And I believe that's the super gate for the shortcut for Boss Moon that we didn't have open because we came from the other direction.
Yeah, that's the shortcut for if you miss the spark to break the speed blocks in front of bot screen. And the sand pit should have the last items that we have to pick up.
Almost the last items.
Yeah. The last missable items.
Fair enough, yeah. Yeah, the very last item in the game is not only not missable, it's also hard required, so...
So back when, like, just mainly doing any percent, the big scare when you get to the end of the run is you go to the gatekeeper, which we're going to be doing shortly, and you just pray that you didn't forget a guardian somewhere. But now it's just you finish the run, you pray you didn't forget an item somewhere, which there's 148 items in this compared to Super Metroid's 100. And it is way harder to remember all the items in this, especially with them being like unequal missile values and such.
The map definitely feels absolutely massive compared to the original.
That's because it is.
Yeah, the original has 1,244 screens, map tiles. Redesign has around 2,800.
Wow, and is there any way to keep track of the number of guardians that you need, or you just have, like, the first time you play through this, you're just figuring out where they are and hoping you have them all?
The gatekeeper tells you how many you still need, but you have to go back to him each time to find out. So, like, if I didn't have all of them, that one would have told me how many I'm still missing.
Gotcha.
So Turian, so that purple door he just opened, once you open it, remains open. So there's a purple door right here, and if you decide to get creative and leave and come back, that purple door becomes purple again. So it's an immediate ammo waste.
I found that out when I tried to make like a true completion file, and I just tried to get all the door flags done on my file. I went back to this one. I was like, oh, I swear I remember to open this. Then I found out that it just respawns. Setting the respawning flag on the doors is how he gets all the boss locked doors to always stay gray flashing when you open them. Is because they technically never go away.
Okay, so redesign Metroids. So you'll notice that he's doing a slightly different strat that you're probably used to get the Metroids off. The slowness of the roll speed combined with the fastness of the actual Metroids, you really need to do this little jump bomb thing to get them off of you. Plus, they respawn. So these are every one of these rooms. They're all enemy kill rooms, where you have to kill a certain number of Metroids to get through, but they're going to keep respawning until you leave. So you can't just... they're just going to keep coming at you.
This room has a Morph Ball under a gate that you can do to skip 2 Metroid rooms.
Which is really nice.
There's a very similar Morph Ball under a gate to skip some rooms in the escape as well.
And I think we might have mentioned earlier, but you can't use power bombs on the Metroids. Ice beam hard required.
Also, they have a terrible drop rate for supers. It's much slower than in vanilla.
Yeah, you're much better off using regular missiles here. I guess it's not quite as crucial in Hundo, but yeah, in general, you're better off using missiles.
A lot of the times, the missiles are still better just because, like, the super cooldown, the super cooldown makes it take longer until you can do your next ice beam shot. So
yeah, fair enough. Yeah.
even that interferes with it, even if you have lots of ammo. In any percent, supers are extremely valuable for Mother Brain because she's actually very weak to supers. She takes 2.5 times normal damage from them.
And is it half on the missiles? Like,
yeah, missiles are absolute crap against Mother Brain. So for any percent where we're stuck with only charged Spacer, every single super drop that we can get out of these Metroids is really valuable. For Hundo, it doesn't really matter. It's still slightly faster to have supers versus not, but it's very minimal. And for some of these, like, enemies don't respawn. You saw this when I was doing early area. Enemies will not respawn as long as their drop is still on screen. So I had to go back and make sure I got those drops so the Metroids would respawn. Baby skip is a lot easier because of screw tech, mainly.
Also really good to get this next room. We haven't hit the save yet, you'll notice, and yet we have these 2 side hoppers that if you get grabbed and you're down to 1 health, you need to make sure you either screw attack to those rooms or hope you have health and energy in your reserve tanks. So getting 1 reserve tank on a casual run is really a good idea.
Look, I did Zevitate skip without unequipping screw attack. I must have done the free down back.
In fact, that's one of the nice things about being able to hold run, having to hold run for the use of screw attack. You don't just don't hold run and you're good.
Axial Turian is legendarily bad.
I mean, to be fair, this until you get used to the speed of the Metroids and until you get used to the alternate way of getting them off of you, it is pretty bad in this one. But yeah, Axial is much worse.
Yeah, I will agree with that. I could not get them off me in my first playthrough. I safe stated to dodge them.
Yeah, I learned how to do it, and I think the only reason why I was able to figure it out is because I've seen you do even in just vanilla, I've seen you do that kind of way of getting the Metroids off, and I think I finally understood why you had that method. It was this game.
Yeah. Having experience with like knowing how to deal with those Metroids, I might make that terrain look easier than it is. But like once you learn how to do it, it's not too bad.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Axial Edition Turian is a maze. So like when this version of Redesign was being finished, I think Drusif was just finishing college and wanted to get it out and done. So Turian was kind of a rush job, and he had this idea of making it into this fortress, this fantastical maze. So when he remade Axial Edition 9 and released it 9 years later, he put his all into Turian, and it's a really big maze of having to destroy Zepatites and avoid death lasers and such. And the concept is cool. It was not fun to slog through, at least not in the initial release. He touched it up since then. It's very impressive in its own right. And I do want to do Axial Edition runs at some point, but it's like a very different beast to tackle, and this version's still my favorite, my priority.
Okay, so notice he's no longer wearing a gravity suit. Remember when I got to this point, I saw the yellow suit instead of the purple suit, and I paused, and I was very confused. But yeah, so this makes this, I mean, maybe a little less so in Hundo, but in general, the Mother Brain 3 fight, not free here, because most of our items are gone, including both suits. And so the ending rings do a ton of damage. You don't want to get hit. We are left with Hyper Beam, bombs, and wall jump.
And Morph Ball.
And Morph Ball. Lots and lots of Morph Ball.
Funny thing is, like, the Rainbow Beam, like, hard sets what your inventory is. So if you don't have wall jump, the game won't give it to you here. I mentioned that because this hack is old enough that if you know what GT code is, it's still on this, and you can, since wall jump's an unused item bit in vanilla, doing a GT code will actually delete wall jump. But it's not a worry for the escape because Mother Brain just gives it back to you.
Also, notice that the escape timer started at 25 minutes.
Oh yeah, so they're so as for like cutoff for save kill stuff, there's an elevator out to criteria that will still give enough time to determine the cutoff. So the elevator out to criteria is when I would cut it off. It's actually the second elevator I'll be taking. That's how long the escape is.
Yeah,
How tight is it? 25 minutes exactly in this escape?
A lot of it is like padded so that you can. It's hard to find some of your way through terrain here.
The directions aren't always obvious.
So some of it is like for getting lost, and some of it is for like saving the animals is a sizable detour as well. So some of it's to allow for that.
Okay, and there's the item. Hard required, and don't fire 6 missiles here.
Yeah, you need every single one of those 10 missiles. There's 2 red doors you have to open, and none of these escape pirates can drop anything. The Rainbow Beam removing your items, it does remove X-Ray and Grapple despite them still being on the HUD. It just doesn't have a routine to undraw them. But it does not touch your max ammo counts.
Which would be great if there was a missile refill.
Yeah. Yeah, there's nothing that drops anything throughout the escape, so you would never know that normally. But when doing the escape strats for RVO, I did confirm that it does not touch your max counts, which is good for that.
Yeah, the first part of the escape was just a long maze of getting through things, a lot of remembering how to do the bomb jumps that we learned way back when, before Spring Ball was a thing. Finding your way through.
So during the escape, I just want to give everybody a quick reminder about the reason that we're running the marathon. NoReset Speedrun is associated themselves with the National Multiple Sclerosis Society for the fundraiser that will go on the whole weekend, so until Sunday night. The goal of the National MS Society is to cure MS while empowering people affected by it to live their best lives. So please give generously, everybody. This is going to a great cause that will help a ton of people.
And that little mid-air morph saves a little bit of time as well.
That was pretty tough to do. Because you're doing it from a platform that isn't straight underneath the thing you're trying to morph into.
Also, that acid in the previous room is actually not going to hit you. Most people, when they go through the first time, are going to go in the top because it looks like the acid's going to rise just high enough to hit you. It doesn't. It's kind of funny when this whole section, it's slow and not very dangerous for the most part. So it kind of lulls you into a false sense of security, but it's going to get a lot more difficult. Or not difficult so much, as more dangerous coming up.
The second half of the escape is death traps.
Yeah.
Which is kind of unfair after you do all the slow tunneling and stuff.
Yeah, I would have rather had the first half be the death traps and the second half be the slow and...
So there's a shortcut here. The top gate is like a shortcut because it's harder to fall into, but it's actually slower to go that way because you have to wait longer for the gate to rise. So I find that kind of funny. So it's ostensibly the shortcut. It's the path that takes more effort to get to, but it's slower.
And a lot of the parts of the escape are going through rooms that we've already went through to get in, just like these little morph tunnels and such.
It's kind of hard to recognize a lot of them.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, because the Metroids aren't there, and you're in different parts of them.
And speaking of Metroids, we're about to encounter the first one in the escape. Metroids are dangerous here. This one has a really easy way of getting past it, but in general they're dangerous because you don't have ice to freeze them, and with no suits you have no damage reduction, so they do quadruple the damage you're used to.
There's 3 total. That's the last one. The first one's really easy to get past with them. You don't even need a mock ball for it. And the second one, I don't even think it can hit you. And that third one, you're kind of, I think you're meant to have it latch onto you and use that refill station at the bottom. So essentially you're trying to fall down fast enough so that so you'll get to the refill station before it kills you. But there are a few ways to dodge it, and you saw one right now.
Okay, so this is the first elevator. Next elevator I'll get to will be in a couple rooms, and that's when I would like to cut off save versus kill. This is a fun room coming up though. Yeah,
parts of this also harken back to, or the next one, to the escape in the original Metroid, especially when it gets to the really tiny platforms. And tinier than these right now. These. Gonna get back some normal sized platforms to finish this part off.
Okay, so what's the verdict? Are we doing save or kill?
Hello?
I think Shoku's got the answer. Looks like we're saving.
Sounds good. I kind of expected that. Which is kind of cool in this run, since it's yeah, I mean we've all seen the save for the vanilla game, so.
Yep, sorry about that one. I didn't know the question was for me.
That's okay.
So now we're into these rooms that we mostly we're back into the rooms where we entered criteria from the depths part.
That is the room that I just climbed, is where the first underwater ninja pirate fight is. There's also a save in that room,
yeah,
which doesn't work during the escape.
I mean, with good reason, because I mean, if you got here too late and you saved there, you just can't finish. So.
Oh, the save gets rid of the timer, and you know that from like Rainbow.
Well, that's true.
So it's not designed to be used in the escape.
And yes, he's back in water without a gravity suit. So now we get to the dangerous part. Once we get out of the water, now we're to the dangerous part of the escape.
We've got a lot of rooms.
No, they're not so bad in the first couple rooms, and then they start getting more dangerous. And some of the danger here is just making sure you go the right direction. There's not a lot of time to make a mistake.
That is the hug left room.
Yep.
And then at some of the rooms with enemies and steam and jumps that you have to do, I will like for a couple of the jumps, I'll be trying to tank a hit on purpose, whether it be from an enemy or the steam, just so another steam doesn't hit me as I'm trying to jump.
You can see there's multiple directions to go in some of those. If you go the wrong way, the lava's going to catch up to you.
And we get to do an underwater Morph Ball. Generally, you can't do these underwater, but if you actually started to run outside of the water, it will still work. This is the last, like, really bad, dangerous room. If you fail the wall jumps, the acid catches up to you and you die.
Yeah, the last room is designed to kill you, really.
Yeah, so now we're back in the landing site, but the ship is not here because there's a cave-in, and your ship was pretty smart, so it moved somewhere else. I think you actually like pulled up the map and you noticed the ship moved because the icon was in a different spot before you actually like saw it.
Yeah, I think I did, yeah.
But I know for me, my first experience was getting to this room, and only when I got to its normal spot I realized it wasn't there.
Also, I don't think we mentioned that once you kill Ridley, criteria gets flooded.
Yeah,
So
that's
we have to deal with
very
the consequences of that.
it's very relevant and inconvenient in any person. Because criteria is where you get gravity, so having all these flooded rooms before having gravity is very inconvenient.
Also, getting that jump.
Yeah, I call that one the final boss. That's a tile perfect jump I had to do at the start of the game on the way to bombs, but it's much harder to do with the steam able to hit you.
And much more important to do when you lose. How much time do you lose when you miss that in the escape because you're not going backtracking through water?
A minute. I've lost world records to it. So that is where the ship was, but I still have to go save the animals.
I mean, careful, you got 14 and a half minutes, you know.
So so a lot of people might ask where the animals are, but oh wait, I went the wrong way. Wow. But if you think about it, the answer is not generally hard to figure out. In most hacks, the animals are still going to be in Bomb Terizo's room. It's just Bomb Terizo's room is definitely going to be in a different spot. Clearly didn't practice saving them.
And one of the interesting parts of this is that this room is not one you ever go into. So if we ever did a map completion category, you'd be hard required to save the animals to get these last map tiles.
Yeah, I never showed it in the run, but there is a door at the back of Bomb Teresa's room that is perma-locked, and it's kind of a big mystery throughout the game for most people, because you might go back to this door every so often throughout the game and see if something unlocked it, but it never unlocks until you escape, and that's where the animals are. So the reflect is gone because the enemies are removed from a lot of these escape rooms, but since we have Hyper Beam, we can shoot the shutter through the floor.
And Shoku has a great question asking if you can still save during the escape.
Not without like breaking out of the escape. There's one save station that we pass in the escape that's disabled specifically, so you can't save at it. But if you're able to get to a working save station elsewhere, in an unintended way, you will be able to save, and it will remove the escape timer, but not the escape state. So that is actually what RBO does to beat Mother Brain first, and then beat the rest of the bosses. But in normal circumstances, no, you can't. It's kind of easy to get lost when going to and from the animals because it wants you to take a completely different path than it made you took to get to bombs in the first place. Because the door at the top of this room that you'd normally go to is locked. Okay, so we're about to get back to the ship room. Time is going to be when I press down to get inside the ship, but I'm in pretty deep water here, so it might still take me a bit to get back to it.
So literal deep water from what I'm seeing here.
Yep.
All right, time. All right, that was Super Metroid Redesign. Hopefully 100%. I guess we'll see after the credits if I actually did do it this time. So yeah, last time I did this at a live NoReset event, I missed 3 items. I was like working on route changes at that time, so that's what I'm going to blame. And it was also more stressful in person, where I didn't have notes next to me like I do now. And I also didn't have anyone there who knew the item order. So there's a good chance I actually did it correctly this time.
Unfortunately, it's a long ways to the credits before we find out.
It's like 3 minutes from here.
The suspense is killing me.
And it's actually like a thing that's kind of been hanging over my head for the past 4 years. So like the one time I did Hundo for a marathon, I screwed it up.
That's your Rocky 2 moment right there.
So I think the deal is you start over, right? If it's not 100. That's right.
Yeah, exactly. One-handed, blindfolded.
I might have to do that without my commentator. That would be.
I'll try and stay with you.
Actually, Shoku's got a good point. We always bring it up because there's literally nothing else we can poke fun at you with because you're that good. So.
I've gone overestimated a few times.
Yeah, now you're under by like 21 minutes.
So I got a 329 with the Ridley death and
328.54-ish.
I mean, we didn't have to worry about the save the animals messing up a world record.
oh yeah, that's also, oh yeah, the animals added like 4 minutes. So
Yeah.
that and the Ridley death. Okay, yeah, that's that actually, like if you factor out the animals, that's barely off of what my PB was like a week ago.
Also, this time he'll have additional blame since I'm supposed to help him remember to get all the items.
The one that you tried to remind me of was like is actually a missile I couldn't think of a good name for, so you probably didn't know which one it was. Deer Force.
Deer Force.
Dear Force.
Force.
Deer Force. Yeah,
About
this
G-Force?
better be it.
Drum roll. Or blast it to the face.
Little of both.
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B. And we have
Oh no!
99.3%.
Oh, you've got to be kidding me.
Oh no!
I actually can't believe I was pretty sure this was gonna be it.
Great job, though. I was just kidding about that last starting
Good
over
job.
part.
Oh gosh.
It must have been like in the last quarter of the game too. Oh well, that's unfortunate. It happens.
That's only one item, right?
Watch it be an item in Lower North that I actually got, but I didn't pick up after I died.
No, you picked up both of those.
No, yeah, I'm pretty sure that wasn't it.
I'm wondering if you picked the GT power bombs up.
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I did pick that one up.
I mean, if it's any consolation, it's still better than 97.6.
It is.
You're getting there. I mean, technically, one more run.
Okay,
like 4 years from
I think
now.
we're gonna have to keep doing this until you get the hundo.
Oh my god.
I don't mean like right now, but I mean
Like tomorrow, you know, like.
Oh man.
All right. Well, thanks for having me again.
Thanks for being with us again today. Again.
See, it's the 2 runs in one day. That's what I'm gonna blame it on.
Yeah. That's fair enough. I mean, that Echoes run was brutal. That route is just insanely difficult. It's a heat run throughout pretty much, what, 70% of the game?
Yeah, it kind of is.
Well, this is it for tonight. That was the last one of the night.
Time for sleep percent, right?
Time for sleep percent. I mean, I like 21 minutes underestimate in this scenario.
I
Very
am
much.
like scanning through this item, was trying to figure out which thing I didn't pick up.
Just have to, I guess, have to watch.
I'm
it
sure
back.
it's gonna jump out at me like sometime later tonight. It'll
It'll wake you up in the middle of the
It'll
night.
come-
Yeah. You'll just stand straight up and be like, oh my god, that was the one.
yeah.
Maybe you forgot the Morph Ball.
Yeah, it's funny you
You say
mentioned that
that.
because so I submitted this to AGDQ, and when I was recording the submission video, the first take of it that we tried to do as commentary, I actually like forgot to
Yeah,
go in the
stop.
direction of Morph Ball, and I went in the direction of missiles instead of the start. I had to redo that take because that's just like
Nice.
not a mistake that you can submit. But
I mean, it would have been good. I would have submitted it. Then again, I wouldn't be picked. So, you know, apples and oranges. But that being said, thank you very much once again for being here with us today. It's been an absolute blast, and can't wait to see what other ROM hack you can submit down the line. Is there any ROM hack in particular you're playing right now, or because I need to do a lot of Metroid Prime Randomizer?
Yeah, that's like not my strongest suit in terms of games, but I'm having a lot of fun with it. But for SM hacks, it's just kind of like whatever's in season, and like I've been trying to get it into GDQ, so like whenever GDQ submissions are on, I try and like get back into being active with it. So I would like to do different hacks, but I just never end up having time with all the other stuff I have going on. So we'll see what I come up with next time. There are a couple that like YPX is one I wanted to run last year. If you've heard of that one.
I think I've tried it the other day. Is that the one with the modified physics and everything?
Yeah, it's pretty similar to Redesign physics. Actually, my first playthrough, I completely broke the sequence of the hack.
He broke it to pieces, which made it really fun when I played it the correct way.
I did not kill all of the major bosses when I first beat it.
He still hasn't killed Dragon in that hack yet.
So it was like, because I found a lot of ways to break it, I wanted to get into running it, but there's all these randomizer tournaments. I just didn't end up having time. Maybe next year.
I get that. Another one that I played that I've really enjoyed is Vitality, which is one of the best hacks of the last couple of years. You played that one?
I've played that one. That one is like,
I'm a big fan of that one.
Yeah. That big twist, I really loved it, especially since I'm a huge fan of that other franchise I'm not going to spoil. But yeah.
It's too easy for like a digital mantra hack for me. Like it doesn't really do it for me.
Isn't that the same? That was from the person who made Eris, right?
Yeah, Eris and Cliffhanger, which I like those. But Vitality is very good in terms of art style. But it wasn't hard enough for me, basically.
Now that one that I played recently was Temple of the Winds. It's very short, but that was a good one too.
Well, that one's pretty unique.
That one is annoying.
I enjoyed that one. I did not enjoy the items that took away your health. The poison. Oh yeah,
the poison vials.
I did not enjoy the poison vials.
That was not my favorite thing. Also, I really enjoyed the upgrade that would just cancel gravity, just outright cancel it.
The jump thing. Okay.
Yeah, I think I didn't find that one, and you. I think you found that one, and I didn't. I didn't find it when I played.
I think that's right. I think that sounds right.
Yeah, that was.
It's not unusual for me to not skip items that you've managed to skip, because you're better at beating the games without the items than I am.
I mean, then again, if anyone wants to get into Super Metroid ROM hacking or any Metroid game ROM hacking, go on MetroidConstruction.com. It's Metroid-construction.com.
There's no hyphen.
There's no hyphen? Is there an hyphen?
Yeah. There's no hyphen.
So. No.
Why did I think it was a hyphen? That's a good question. Oh, wait, that hyphen was that 0.7% that you're missing. Oh.
Oh, boy. You mind if I quick word in, G-Virus?
Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to quickly thank everybody who ran games, performed virtual couch duties, donated, rated, subscribed, and just hung out with us all day today on the first day of the 2021 Metroidvaniathon. And basically, I'm pretty excited about a Castlevania block coming up early tomorrow morning with Order of Ecclesia, Lament of Innocence, and Super Castlevania 4. And once again, great job, Azder. Great job, Tracy. It was a pleasure having you guys.
Thank you very much.
Right back at you. So this concludes our day one. And come back tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. It is 9 a.m. So come back tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. for the pre-show, and we kick off at 10 sharp.
I know what I forgot. I forgot I forgot the Criteria East Courtyard Power Bomb, because it's after when you spark to the Guardian. That's not the first time I've forgotten it. Okay, I mystery solved.
There you go. You'll go to bed at peace at this point. Well, more at peace. But tomorrow at 10 a.m. sharp, we're starting with Castlevania Order of Ecclesia. Albus mode any percent on the 3DS with Sir Frozer, followed by Castlevania Lament of Innocence, Leon any percent on the PS2 with Order of Ecclesia, and then with Ve Victus BR, and we have quite the schedule tomorrow as well, which will culminate with a Metroid Prime Hunters run by Mr. Shasta on the Nintendo DS. And then right before that, though, it's going to be a Clash of the Titans with Zosti versus Shiny Zenny, Super Metroid Reverse Boss Order. It's going to be a 2-player race, and that's one you don't want to miss. And of course, everything else. I mean, I could single out every single run in the lineup tomorrow, but to me, that one, that's going to be quite epic.
Zos versus Zenny and RBO. Yeah, I mean, you've got the two best at that category.
Exactly.
I don't know. You need to say much more than that.
There you go. It should be a done deal at this point. So thank you very much, everyone. I guess we're going to go catch some Z's on our end, because we do have to start tomorrow early in the morning. So thank you, everyone, and we'll see you tomorrow.